would make it this far. They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this, go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand. Ay, we on overtime, you don't need to understand. Ay, you just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger. Ay, please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat in submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance, they coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk, I just show them. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling, they already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand. Ay, we on overtime, you don't need to understand. Ay, you just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger.
Salute. We're in here for a good time, not for a long time. Salute to everybody in the building, man. One more time. Always that much more night, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. Salute to everybody in the building. ATP, what's good? It's your boy Rain. We back at you guys with another one, another live again, another pop-up live, right? A Tuesday night live. I had the time and so much things going on in the space. I'm just trying to keep up with it, right? You know, when you do your shows, you want to try to keep up with all the energy and everything that's moving in the space. And there's a lot moving in the space, right? We've had interviews, significant interviews done. Jerron Ennis just did an interview with Ariel Heilwani. I think that popped up today. Oscar De La Hoya as well. Shout out to Ariel Heilwani, right? Shout out to Ariel Heilwani. You know what I mean? Shout out to Ariel Heilwani. Really keeping us out. And who would have ever known? An MMA a journalist, somebody who's foundationally been in the MMA space, saying so on top of the boxing space and just bringing that journalism, that real quality journalism, interviewing some of our favorite fighters, right? Interviewing Jerron Ennis, and of course his interview with Oscar De La Hoya on the back end of the Ali Act, in the midst of being reformed, right? Some people say it's being messed with in the wrong way, in the right way, you know, all these different opinions, but it was interesting to hear Oscar De La Hoya speak on his perspective on how he saw what Dana White was doing. We saw his clapback Thursday, but, you know, Ariel Heilwani was able to dive just a little bit deeper into not only how he feels about the entrance of TKO and Dana White into the space and messing with the Ali Act, but also how does that affect what he's doing, what all the promotional companies are doing, himself, as Golden Boy, PBC, Top Rank, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, all the current promoters in the space, and how, you know, they feel about, or how he feels that this will affect what they're doing. Now, obviously, he's going to be confident in his position and how he's moving. That's that competitive spirit in him, and I think that's one of the things that Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh bring into the conversation, right? They definitely bring that competitive aspect, that open market, free market aspect to the space that I've always told you guys from the beginning benefits us as boxing fans, or on a business board, right? Consumers, that we benefit from that. I mean, there's arguments there to say that Dana White's presence inspires an Eddie Hearn to move forward with a Rock Nation, or with a new partnership deal with Turkey, and you've heard Eddie Hearn speak on it. So his presence alone, at a minimum, sparking that in these promoters, Oscar De La Hoya also being one of them. They all have to compete on this playing field. They all have to give us a product, and they're all fighting for our attention, and that's a great thing, right? So we're talking about that interview. I thought there was some interesting points and topics that Oscar De La Hoya spoke on, and just, give my perspective as to where I stand on some of the things he said. There was also other questions that Ariel Heilwani asked Oscar De La Hoya that was very revealing in its own way. And we'll talk about if that's the reason why boxing is where it's at today. Is that mentality the reason why we're in the space we are today? Or is this just is this just growing pains, right? There's so many different ways to look at this situation, but regardless, an inevitable evolution of anything in the world, nothing stays the same, right? And if it stays the same and stagnant, there's usually something wrong with that. So we'll talk about that as well. Also, Jaron Ennis, as I stated earlier, did his little interview with Ariel Heilwani. I thought that was good too. I'm appreciating, and it looks like Jaron Ennis is on a media tour of sorts, which is a breath of fresh air, because I think if any of us as boxing fans ever had any issues with Jaron Boots Ennis at all, would probably be his lack of communication to the boxing space, to the fans, to us, right? As a community, we really never get a chance to really know what's really on Jaron Boots Ennis's mind. This right here gives us some perspective on where his mind is at. He gets to speak directly to the issues. Ariel Heilwani, being the high-level journalist he is going to poke and prod and ask those questions and re-ask them in different ways, and work his hardest to get that information out of a Jaron Ennis, right? To make sure that we're hearing it the right way. Yeah, there goes, man. I don't know, that StreamYard messing around. I hope it stays consistent. So far, the feed's been decent, but I don't know, man. This StreamYard thing is probably going to get addressed at some point. I ain't gonna lie to you. StreamYard need to get it together, or we're going to be moving around. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So, very interesting interview with Jaron Ennis, right? Jaron Ennis speaks on Virgil Ortiz, speaks on Turki Al-Sheikh, speaks on Terrence Crawford, speaks on his brand, on his plans for the future of boxing, speaks on the likeliness of moving through the weight classes, speaks on a lot of things. And we'll talk about that as well, as he seems, like I said, to be on a media tour. That's awesome. Also, news of Devin Haney as we're approaching closer and closer to November 22nd. We know that the first of all, the whole pay-per-view situation, we'll talk about that as well, as far as what that means, right? Like, how do we feel about that? I haven't had a real opportunity to really share any perspective on how I feel about this whole entire November 22nd was supposed to be a free event, now a pay-per-view event, right? Turki Al-Sheikh promised us something. For some reason, he's pulling back on that promise. I'm just as much at a loss as you guys are as to why we're looking at this happen the way it is. I think we all know that the space has been really hammering on that pay-per-view model, right? And the idea that it redlines a whole generation of fighters, of fight fans who weren't able to see boxing in the way that we grew up seeing boxing, a lot of free boxing that helped grow the brand. And it seemed like Turki Al-Sheikh was on board with that. It seemed like he was, his movement was supporting that with the Zone making that announcement and putting on a big event like Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford on Netflix and things of that nature, right? And even with Dana White making his new big 9 billion deal with Paramount, bringing boxing back to the TV space and providing it in a somewhat free capacity, because nothing's really free. It's America first, right? It's America first. Nothing is really free. But if you can get unlimited boxing with a subscription rather than paying for it event by event, that did change, I think, the landscape and the idea of how many people and how many eyes would land on boxing. We saw with Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford numbers north of 40 million people viewed that event. You'd have to think that the free model, that most people have a Netflix account outside of an interest in boxing, that those guys were tapping in that probably weren't tapping in before. And I consider that event a pretty successful one. So you could only imagine how many new actual boxing fans were attracted into the space, and that will continue to follow boxing because of events like that. So Turki Al-Sheikh seemed to be on board with that, but things change, right? For some reason, the pay-per-view model is going to be used on this particular event. And for all argumentative purposes, the event is pay-per-view work. It's a pay-per-view worthy event. It's a very stacked card. David Benavidez versus Anthony Yard, Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes, Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr., Bam Rodriguez, right? I mean, a pretty decent stacked card. You know what I mean? Maybe even the biggest actual card of the year. But still, it's principalities sometimes involved in these situations that we have to address. It becomes the elephant in the room because we had an understanding of what kind of product we were going to get from Turkey, and now that's moved, and there's going to be questions raised in a very tense, high tense boxing situation where boxing fans are split. A lot of boxing fans are very excited about Turki Al-Sheikh coming into the boxing space in the capacity that he's done, and very excited to see what the future of his presence in the space is going to bring. But also, you know, you have a lot of fans who are also on the other side, who are very leery, who question, who feel like there's an overpayment on these fighters. And how long will he consistently do that? And is he messing up the balance in boxing? And when that balance is messed up, if he did choose to leave, could we ever get that balance back? This could affect boxing in an adverse way that we wouldn't want to see happen. But look, you never know until you do it, right? So trial and error is going to be part of this experience, part of this journey, right, guys? It's going to be part of this journey with us. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that as well. I don't know. I'll probably open up the panel at some point in time, right? So to allow the usual suspects to come up here and build. We're only going to be on for about an hour and a half. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. I got my fingers crossed and hoping that that's what's going to end up being. But you guys know how you guys usually end up throwing me into the blender when it comes to that. We end up staying way too long. So it is what it is. Shout out to everybody in the building. We've got about 18 people here right now in the building. Salute, salute, salute. Salute to everybody in the building, all right? So do me a favor. I shouldn't have to ask you, but I will remind you just in case as we're stepping in the building, make sure that we're hitting the like buttons as we're coming in here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take a moment to go ahead and do that as well. So let's start with the elephant in the room, right? And we still, we got to talk about Teofimo Lopez, right? We got to talk about all that as well. Teofimo Lopez back to his old tricks again. Man, T.O., man. Let's speak on T.O. right now. Let's get T.O. out the way, right? So Teofimo Lopez back in the news again, unfortunately for the wrong reasons. We thought we made it through the woods potentially with Teofimo Lopez. Most boxing fans, I think, presently know that with Teofimo Lopez, nothing is ever done until it's done. Until that contract is done, paperwork signed, dates announced, promotion commencing, you just can't count on Teofimo Lopez. If you've been around the boxing space for the past 2 years, I mean, if you've been in boxing, period, just watching boxing, but for the past 2 years, we've all been acquainted to this new Teofimo Lopez, this somewhat outspoken Teofimo Lopez, this troll version of Teofimo Lopez, this triggering gaslighting version of Teofimo Lopez. But I think we're also getting used to a not fighting Teofimo Lopez, right? A Teofimo Lopez who is not in the ring as much as anybody would want him in the ring, whether you hate him, whether you love him. If you're a fan of Teofimo Lopez, if you hate Teofimo Lopez, one way or the other, the reason we know about Teofimo Lopez is boxing. So where do we want to see Teofimo Lopez? Hate him or love him? Inside the ring. And that's also been an unfortunate side of Teofimo Lopez that we've all bear witness to in the past 2 years. Teofimo and all types of nonsense and all types of conversations that haven't added up to fighting, whether it was him calling out Terrence Crawford, whether it was him calling out Jaron Ennis, whether it was horrible negotiations with Turki Al-Sheikh and negotiating a fight with Devin Haney, whether it was lackluster performances against Jermaine Ortiz or Sandor Martin or even a Steve Claggett. We've all watched this journey, this experience, as Teofimo Lopez would call it, the takeover. We might have different names for it, but we thought we might have made it through the woods on this one, as Teofimo Lopez did have somewhat of a quiet hiatus from the space on the back end of looking like he ruffled some feathers and maybe burnt some bridges. And looking back at it, maybe that wasn't the case, but something was going on between him and Turki Al-Sheikh. We thought we got through it. We thought he got a Ring Magazine deal and, 3-fight deal. He's finally going to get the paydays that he wanted to have. And we thought we'd see him in the ring with the fighters, with the best fighters. And, we can get back to the boxing business with Teofimo Lopez. Lastly was Shakur Stevenson. As we watch Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson even share a stage together, have conversations, and both of them seem to be on the same page that their fight would be a very big fight and was supposedly, arguably, supposed to be in somewhat of some kind of negotiations for an early 2026 appearance. Well, as time has revealed itself, we've had new players in the game, old players that have become new players, namely in some retired fighters like a Manny Pacquiao, who are working on putting on their big fights, and fighters like Teofimo Lopez who are looking for their biggest paydays and looking for opportunity. Any opportunistic fighter who can fight a Manny Pacquiao may be entertaining potentially being a dancing partner for Manny Pacquiao. But us as boxing fans trying to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on in the boxing space, really getting ourselves really, what's the word I'd use? I would say that we got real comfortable with the idea of Teofimo and Shakur Stevenson fighting. Thought that'd be a great fight. On the back end of Gervonta Tank Davis moving on the fight of Jake Paul and pretty much removing his name out of the conversation for helping to make some of the big fights that we wanted to see, there's an argument there to say that Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson was the next best thing, right? The next best thing behind us seeing something like that. And here we are today, and Teofimo Lopez, speaking on Twitter, sounds like he's heading in the direction of potentially trying to make a fight with Manny Pacquiao. It feels like that would be great for his legacy, great for boxing, but we can be honest, probably better for his pockets, right? We can only assume and speculate in the direction of why he's decided to speak this way. But we'll also know that Teofimo Lopez is a gaslighter. He's the type of person to say something and it really doesn't mean anything but just trying to invoke an emotion out of the boxing space. Who will Teofimo Lopez be fighting next is the question. And where does Shakur Stevenson stand now with Teofimo Lopez looking like he may be backing out of the negotiation to fight with Shakur Stevenson? Shakur Stevenson hasn't communicated anything to the space, which is a good thing, I think, right? I think that's a good thing, because what that means to me is that it's not completely off the books. I'm sure Shakur will be the first one to be on X sharing with the space that Teofimo Lopez is ducking him. Maybe this is more so aimed at us, the fans who have now become sensitive to Teofimo Lopez's gaslighting strategy, right? His approach to promoting himself and fighting. Maybe we should fall back for a second, right? I don't know. It is what it is. Salute to Darren Collins Sr. says Teofimo hasn't had a meaningful fight in years. Without a doubt, man. We thought we were close, man. We thought we were close, and we may still be close, right? We may still be close. We have to kind of be patient. I got to be honest with you guys. Where I'm at with it is I'm patient. I'm a little annoyed, a little bit frustrated, but I'm still in the air as far as understanding as to whether or not Teofimo Lopez is simply just trying to trigger emotions out of us, right? He seems like the kind of person who that's kind of like the way he decides and feels like he should move, is to go ahead and troll the space, poke the bear, get everybody talking. All marketing is good marketing, right? All promotion is good promotion. At the end of the day, maybe this makes the announcement of the fight between him and Shakur Stevenson even that much greater if it ever does happen. Shakur Stevenson, rumors also circulating in the space that he may, be a little hesitant on signing the contract, that he may want to make sure that his hands may be where they need to be in order for this fight to really happen. He doesn't have to pull out like he ended up having to do when he hurt himself getting ready to fight Joe Cordina, right? So there's all kind of different parts that we got to look at on this, and we just got to be patient. But I can understand how gaslighting is going to be, because now the whole entire content creation space in the boxing space is looking at Teofimo Lopez with the side eye, wondering how serious can we take this guy at this point? Is he just going to do to us what he did with Devin Haney? Is he going to do to us what he's done with Jabril Matias and other fighters? Is he going to lead us to believe that he's interested in something, but ultimately, when it's all said and done and the smoke is cleared, it ends up being a big old nothing burger, right? It is what it is. Shout out to Mac Majay, says, I'm cool with paying, but not when they say it's free beforehand. That's kind of annoying. Oh, we're talking about, we're going to get into that conversation as well, right? So that, I mean, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, I'm not going to dive too much deeper into that, right? It is what it is. Shakur Stevenson at this point, though, if he's not able to make this fight with Teofimo Lopez, if that's something that really does become an issue and he moves on to greener pastures, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Shakur Stevenson is right there in the conversation with one of the most ducked fighters, in my opinion, in boxing. Right, him, Jerome Boots Ennis, Terrence Crawford at one point in time. David Benavidez has also had his issues with Canelo Alvarez, but I think Shakur Stevenson is really damn near at the top of the pack. Whether it's fighters want to say it's because he's boring or whatever it is, Shakur's always had a hard time making the big fights. And it's getting to a point to where Shakur's probably going to have to take some sort of a risk. He's going to have to move in a way that makes sense with him being active. Now, he has hands that are very fragile and brittle, so he's only looking to fight once or twice a year. So he has a little bit more room for for some strategy in there with who he fights next. But if this fight doesn't go through between him and Teofimo Lopez, then for me personally, where I stand, I think that Shakur Stevenson, I keep saying Teofimo, I think that Shakur Stevenson is going to have to entertain either making a move to 140, which I don't want to see, because then he's right there in the conversation with Keyshawn Davis again. And then we got to play that game with them not wanting to fight each other. And that could be very frustrating. Maybe it'll take him, maybe Keyshawn to get pushed up to 147, or maybe he might go to 147 and fight a big fight against a Devin Haney potentially, or things of that nature. But I'm not too sure. I mean, there's always his own division and him unifying in the division, him chasing down fights with the Raymond Moratalas and the winner between Floyd Schofield and a Lucas Body potentially, even though Schofield's about to fight Jojo Diaz, but or even fighting maybe an Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes winner, maybe unifying the division, stay active in some sort of way that makes sense, because these fighters don't benefit off of these long hiatuses outside of the ring. We'll have to sit back, watch it, and see how it plays out, of course. But it is getting into that place right now to where this uphill battle that Shakur is going through to make these fights, you got to ask yourself, what other strategies can be implemented to kind of get in front of this at this point, if Teofimo Lopez is really thinking about falling back. I mean, Lamont Roach seems like he's willing to fight Shakur Stevenson, but he has a fight lined up with Isaac Pitbull Cruz. That's for this year, of course. Early, first quarter of next year. I'm sure Lamont would be available to fight again in that first quarter, maybe even towards the end of that first quarter. And maybe that might be the fight we see for Shakur Stevenson if he's not able to secure this Teofimo Lopez fight. Salute the 2 cents in the building, says Shakur pretty damn successful. Keep doing what he's doing. He can never please fans. Yeah, I mean, it's not about even pleasing the fans. I understand that too as well, 2 cents. But I'm going to say that it's an activity thing, negotiating, putting himself and especially in the position that he's in, being the quote unquote independent fighter. He's not signed to Eddie Hearn right now, so he doesn't have a machine behind him pushing him right now. Right? There's not a machine there pushing Shakur. We got to look at what moves he's going to make in the future as well. And there's so many things also developing in the boxing space as far as Top Rank and where their deal is going to land, and whether or not they're going to get their TV deal, network deal squared away by early 2026 for the first quarter. And also the PBC is always there, trying to figure out what the PBC's ultimate end goal plan is. We've been watching the PBC have a roller coaster ride up and down, trying to figure out where they're going to settle at in order to be able to go and deliver the amount of events that they were delivering at the peak time in their company's history, right? This right now is definitely a low point for the PBC. I mean, we just watched an event cancel, and then we see them combine it, half the event on this up and coming Isaac Cruz Lamont Roach card, and then arguments there or conversations or rumors spinning around the space of the other half, or Sebastian Fundora versus Keith Thurman at least, being on an undercard of this Manny Pacquiao card that's going to be coming up towards the end of January, right? January 24th or whatever that date is, wherever it lands on. So we just got to see what ends up happening out of that, right? So salute to Sonny Augustine. No doubt, 2 cents says someone put on APB, put an APB on Raymond Moratalas, 100%, right? And Raymond Moratalas, a top ranked fighter, right? Is Raymond Moratalas top rank or gold? He's top rank. I believe he's top rank, right? So just got to see how that all develops for Raymond, because there's supposedly a mandatory that's supposed to be getting activated for him to fight against Andy Cruz, right? And you got to think that's what Eddie Hearn is pushing for. That's his fighter. If Shakur's no longer working with him, he's not looking to put Shakur. He's not looking to get involved in the Shakur conversation at all. It is what it is. It is what it is. So we got our eyes on Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. That deal seems to be very shaky at this point, according to what Teofimo's saying right now and speaking on right now as far as Manny Pacquiao is concerned. We saw Teofimo Lopez at the Danny Gonzalez fight the other night. Didn't hear him speak anything on Shakur Stevenson, but once again, Teofimo Lopez is a character that I've learned to give his space when he's moving the way he's moving. And ultimately, we enjoy Teofimo Lopez when he's in the ring. And outside of the ring, is really not that much. You don't want to speak on it too much because you just don't know what's real and what's not real when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, right? You just don't know. And there's nothing we could do about it, right? As boxing fans. So it is what it is. On to the next one. I do want to speak on this Oscar De La Hoya conversation with Ariel Heilwani. Great interview. If you guys didn't catch it, with Oscar De La Hoya and Ariel Heilwani speaking on Dana White, the introduction of TKO, reformation, I want to say. I hope I'm saying that right. Made with the Ali Act, specifically with the California State Athletic Commission. This is not a whole federally United States 50 statewide declaration on the Ali Act. But California State Athletic Commission has stated that they've accepted the terms on reforming, adding, whatever you want to look at, amending, making changes to the Ali Act as it stands. When it comes to this Ali Act, it's such a sensitive topic right now because clearly there's the elephant in the room is that the Ali Act seems to be the final space, the final wall that protects a fighter from being taken advantage of by a promoter, right? It allows them to get access to the books as far as what's been sold, how much merchandise has been sold, how many tickets have been sold to the events, how many views on a pay-per-view, and just basically lets a fighter know where his value's at and gives him something to gauge to say, okay, this is what I bring to the table and this is what my presence demands as far as fans watching, butts in seats, but also translating into money into my pocket as a boxer. So it's interesting because you see Dana White coming from another combat organization, the UFC, with a UFC model that's very different from boxing. And he comes into the boxing space and he feels and he stays to the space that the Ali Act as it stands isn't as efficient as it could be. And what does that mean? Right. I wonder, and I don't know if Dana White's ever gone into deep conversation as to what parts of the Ali Act he wanted to affect. What parts of the Ali Act did he feel was not conducive to boxing growing or his business model of boxing to grow? The detractors and the people from the outside looking in will let you know that he's trying to take control of the fighters. That he's not trying to, he's trying to fuck over the fighters, right? He doesn't want to show them the books. He wants to pay the fighters a small amount. He wants a lion's share of money to go to either the investors himself or whatever have you, just not in the boxer's pockets. And Oscar De La Hoya communicated on that interview that, in fact, in real time, the fighters are getting the lion's share of whatever the event is making. I don't know that to be true or not to be true. I'm really, really in the dark about that. You know what I mean? Really in the dark. I'm going to do some due diligence and some fact checking in there to see if I can get some information that gives us some sort of understanding of how that split works right now. But I think it's fair to say that as a boxing fan, and I've heard fighters speak on it as well, that boxing hasn't been in a great space, right? The opportunities have been great for that top 3 to 5 percentile boxer who's, you're able to sell a pay-per-view or headline an event or has that particular fan base. But when you look at somebody like Abdullah Mason right now, who's about to fight for his first championship, and you see him training in the basement of his home in Cleveland, Ohio with his brothers and his father, you have to ask yourself, I would ask myself, is boxing in such a great space that reformation has no place in the current boxing space for where it's at? I've heard and I've complained myself as a boxing fan, but I've also heard complaining about boxing across the board for years now. Whether it was the best fighting the best, whether it was cross promoting, across the street politics, all these different elements that got in the way of the boxing fan actually getting a product that was consistent and a structure in the product or in the sport that a new fan, as a casual fan, can come into the space and follow immediately, get on board. We always felt like change was needed in some way or another. Did we need it to go as deep as the Ali Act being touched? I don't know. I mean, I got to be honest and say I don't know. Why don't I know? I don't know because I'm not really educated enough on the ins and outs of the Ali Act in a complete way. I'm aware of that it provides fighters more transparency about these events. But are there other things in the Ali Act that aren't as conducive as we might think they are to these boxers having the best careers possible? Is the Ali Act something that just protects a certain percentile of fighters who fall into a certain category and check a certain amount of boxes as far as value that they bring to the table? You know, I mean, how does somebody like Abdullah Mason, before he gets his title fight right now, who's been fighting on undercards, headlining prelim cards, or opening up, you know what I'm saying, just recently getting on the main card conversation for like his last two fights? What transparency does he get that the Ali Act provides for him that allows him to make an argument about how much money he gets? Or is he in the same compromised position as most fighters are, which is, you know, he's not really in a position to turn down offers as he's trying to build up his resume and build up his reputation and get himself to where he is right now, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. Boxing Wiz says, who you got for Malik Montgomery versus James Pagan? I don't know. I don't even know about that fight, Boxing Wiz. I don't want to lie to you, brother. Malik Montgomery versus James Pagan, not familiar. You can educate me, though, Boxing Wiz. You want to put something in there? Let me know what they fighting on. Which undercard are they fighting on? Yeah, I'm in the dark about that one, man. I'll look into that for whatever it's worth, but I'm not familiar with that matchup. Sorry, but as I was stating, just wondering how all those things are going to really affect boxing, and if we're using a word like amending, adding to, as Dana White has communicated that nothing will change. He will not change any wording or verbiage in the Ali Act as is, but in turn will be adding things to it, amendments to it that give more freedom for promotional business models like what he's bringing into the space to be able to exist and operate in a capacity that he can facilitate boxers to a new way or a new option in boxing as far as using their skills to make money, right? It's confusing. And as you're watching Oscar De La Hoya speak on it, and Ariel Heilwani is really trying to get his perspective on, okay, so exactly what is it that's moving you, you know, what's tickling you the wrong way? What's really messing with the energy right now? Let me see here. Boxing Wiz says, shit, Montgomery, an OTX fighter, he used to spar with Devin Haney and Brian Norman. I don't know too much on the other guy, but the odds are all really close. I got to look into it, Boxing Wiz. On the next live, ask me on the question again, because I will look into it. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, a lot of the OTX fighters, I'm not that familiar with a lot of them. I know a couple of them, obviously, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, OTX is not a platform that I watch all the time like that. So it is what it is. But if he, you know, I guess he's used to spar Devin Haney and Brian Norman. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm assuming that's a good thing, right? I don't know. That must mean he's got some sort of pedigree about him. But thanks. Appreciate you bringing it up, man. I'll look into it. Seems like you're very interested in it. Salute Crypto Chris in the building. And salute to everybody in the building. I know I didn't do my normal rundown. This was a pop-up live, to be honest with you. Something I just decided to do. I had some plans cancel, things I had to do this evening. So I was like, let me pop up in the space and talk on this boxing just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just let's tap on some of these conversations. I watched this Oscar De La Hoya interview, and I thought it was a real interesting interview because, you know, it's interesting to watch a promoter speak on the current state of boxing as, you know, all these things are moving around right now, and then see him say things like boxing is in a great place. It's where it needs to be. Nothing needs to change. There are certain parts of that interview with Oscar De La Hoya that made me feel like there was a disconnect between him and that beautiful home he was doing the interview from and what boxing fans believe is going on in the space. He spoke on the idea of building up fighters and giving them fighters for them to knock out. And he spoke on Ryan Garcia and saying, I'm giving you fighters on a silver platter to knock out, to build up your career. And it's just like, a lot of things he was talking on for me were exactly the things that really frustrated, I thought, the boxing fans in the space. The lack of competition, the competitive fights, the 50-50 fights weren't really there before, and they're not really there now when it comes to promoters who with that mentality like Oscar De La Hoya. They're really not. And that's what the boxing space has wanted for years, and that's what Turki Al-Sheikh brings to the space, and that's what Dana White teases to the space that he's going to be bringing in with TKO. And the question is, if Oscar De La Hoya is a representation of the current state or mind state of promoters today, then if you really listen to that interview, that might legitimately be the issue with boxing, right? That might legitimately be the issue with boxing, is the idea that you think that we want to see knockouts so much that we don't care about the fights being competitive, right? You think that the knockouts are so important that we as fans don't care about the competitive nature of the sport, about the best fighting the best, about legacy, about champions, about unifications, about undisputed, about going undisputed in multiple weight classes, about what happened that night between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. And we're going to find out in real time. We're going to find out in real time as to whether or not he's right. Is the boxing space going to embrace, or the fight fans going to embrace what Dana White is bringing to the table as far as the model he's going to give us and the competitive fights he plans on putting on and the way he's going to have it structured and the champion always fighting the next guy up and things of that nature? Or will we be more, do we like boxing the way it is? Is Dana White correct? Do we actually love boxing? Not Dana White, sorry, Oscar De La Hoya. I'm all over the place, man. Is Oscar De La Hoya correct? Do we actually love boxing as it is and we don't want to see it change? Do we like the control, the cherry picking? Do we like being starved of competitive fights? Or do we not care one way or the other? We just want to see people get knocked out, right? I don't know. I thought it was an interesting interview as we got into it, and just, him building fighters and the artificial version of building up fighters versus an organic version of fighters, just fighting the best, things of that nature. He spoke a little bit on his relationship with Ryan Garcia and, why is Ryan Garcia so indifferent with him? And, I think it's interesting. It is interesting. That as a promoter, he would like to deliver a story to us that would have us believing that boxing is in the best space right now. Maybe I can see where he's coming from. If he's talking about Turki Al-Sheikh's presence in the space now and facilitating a space for a lot of big fights to happen. Virgil Ortiz fought Madrimov on a Turki Al-Sheikh card. Maybe he's speaking on that type of thing. But outside of that, I don't know. Outside of that, I don't know that boxing's been in a better space than it is right now. And I don't know that as boxing fans, we've been more excited for boxing than right now in a long, long time. Dana White's presence is something that we're going to have to wait and give time and see what the future holds with him and his business model. We're going to have to see if that's successful or not. It may not be successful. It may not work or align with what we want in boxing, and we may have to boo that thing out of town, right? But at the end of the day, if Dana White's business model can produce champions, if it can produce product that can compete with the highest level, on the high level, on a world level, then we're looking at another vehicle that can be used to expand and grow the boxing space. And also we can see promotion and marketing and things of that nature and production brought to the boxing space that, we haven't seen in a while, not to mention the competitive nature of the sport and the nature of promotional companies promoting each other is just going to give us a better product, right? It is what it is. Salute to Dragonfly Jones in the building. Salute, family. What's good with you guys, man? 26 people in the building. Take a moment and go ahead and hit that like button as we're stepping in. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys in advance. So, yeah, Oscar De La Hoya, right? We got to see. Let's see what Golden Boy does for 2026, as he has his own stable of fighters, big fights that we're looking for him to make. Virgil Ortiz and Jerron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz and Sebastian Fundora, right? We're looking to see what he does with Floyd Schofield Jr. We'll see how he positions all these fighters and how maybe he can show us how this is done, right? Let's see what he does with it. Jerron Boots Ennis also in an interview with Ariel Heilwani, and as I stated earlier, a refreshing interview because he spoke to the space in a way that we don't get a lot of opportunity to see Jerron Boots Ennis speak to the space, and especially in front of a real certified journalist like Ariel Heilwani, who's just going to really poke and prod, and he's going to ask those questions and get us those answers. And Jerron Boots Ennis is basically speaking the right talk, right? He's speaking the right talk about fighting all the champions at 154 and going on tour and fighting all these guys one by one. That's what he wants to do. That's the assignment. And I don't know of a Jerron Boots Ennis in the past that has moved in a different direction to make me doubt what he's saying, right? I'm sure people can point out what he's did with Virgil Ortiz with Turki Al-Sheikh or with Teofimo Lopez and Turki Al-Sheikh, or even, giving us this fight with Usman Lima. Maybe they're seeing a pattern there, right? Maybe there's some sort of pattern being recognized in the way he's getting his matches and the matchmaking that's happening around him. And maybe that doesn't give a lot of people a lot of hope about what's going to happen with Jerron Boots Ennis. I happen not to be in the same club as you guys. I don't subscribe to that idea. I think there are circumstances that are not being acknowledged when it comes to Jerron Boots Ennis and the movement in his career. And I think right now we're just seeing somebody who's taking control of his career, who's working with a promoter who has a vision of seeing him being the pound-for-pound fighter and the best fighter in the world. I think that vision calls for a certain style of matchmaking. So I can't believe that they're asking for that vision to be fulfilled without understanding that these signature fights have to be put together. These fights against Virgil Ortiz and Sebastian Fundora and Murtaza Aliyev and whoever's in the way, Jermell Charlo, whoever puts themselves in the way, these fights have to happen in order for Jerron Boots Ennis to hit these goals and make these milestone achievements. So I'm excited. I think that's going to be a good look. I think he's talking the right talk. I do think that Jerron Boots Ennis speaking on the Terrence Crawford situation, it does seem like he's very tense about that, right? He doesn't like speaking on it. It doesn't look like he likes speaking on it, right? I mean, this whole entire narrative that he hasn't seen the fight between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, for me, it's a little hard to believe. I think as a boxing fan, yeah, and I want to believe Jerron Boots Ennis is also a boxing fan. I mean, his father saw the fight. It's kind of hard for me to believe that he's just not seen the fight. So when he says that, and even if you didn't see the fight, I don't know, right? I think at the end of the day, as long as Jerron Boots Ennis and Terrence Crawford are in a conversation where they can fight each other, it's going to be very hard for Jerron Ennis to give Terrence Crawford his flowers the right way. Even though he said, listen, man, there's an argument there. He acknowledged that there's an argument there that Terrence Crawford is now the face of boxing, being that he beat Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing at that time. And he also gave Terrence Crawford all the grace in the world to go ahead and make the fights he wants to make, saying that he earned it. I thought that was him stepping up as a boxing fan and trying not to look like a hater. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. This is the fighter's world, right? A very competitive space. And Jerron's just not the type of person who's going to sit there and over celebrate a fighter who he could potentially be fighting in the near future. But he was asked a question that if he was given an opportunity to fight Terrence Crawford and move up in weight, maybe 160, 168, would he consider it? And he said something interesting. He said, if I move up, I'm never coming back down, right? And he said, that being said, I want to unify 154. So to me, it sounds like Jerron Boots Ennis is not really interested in fighting Terrence Crawford. I know a lot of fans would like him to be interested in it, but it doesn't sound like he is, right? Because we know that Terrence Crawford is a current undisputed super middleweight champion. We've heard rumors of him potentially fighting at 160. It's very unlikely, being that he's already vacated the one belt he had at 154, that he'll go back to 154. If Jerron Ennis is not willing to move up in weight to make a super fight with Terrence Crawford, then the super fight probably not going to happen, right? Unless Terrence Crawford, concedes to the idea of him going down to 154 just to fight Jerron Boots Ennis. It is what it is. So it was good. It was good, man. Salute 2 cents. Boots don't like doing media. Some real shit might slip out. No doubt, right? No doubt, 2 cents. Real shit does slip out, especially when you get in front of those guys like Ariel Heilwani, man. When you get in front of those guys, listen, man, those questions are going to get asked, and you're either going to answer them or you're not going to answer them. It's going to look weird that you're not answering them, right? So, I mean, I think it's all good. You know what I mean? I just watched David Benavidez do a great interview as well with Akin Barak last week. Didn't get a real chance to react to that video as much, but I did watch it, believe it or not, yesterday. I completed it. And David Benavidez is in boss mode. You know what I mean? He's embracing the idea of who he is, taking his career into his own hands. He actually spoke a little bit towards the relationship between him and his father and how that kind of got rocky at one point in time. Which I thought that was a real good interview as well, because there were a lot of things that I assumed about David Benavidez, but I never really had confirmation one way or another on. And I was accurate on some information and not accurate so much on other information, but I think I was more accurate than not accurate. I think that we all could see that there was something going on between him and his father with that move to Miami. And rumors were circulating in the space that he was working with other people. Even the father had confirmed at one point or another that he was working with other people. You know, we watched Jose Benavidez Sr. spread himself just a little thin. And you guys have heard me talk about this before, to say that fighters really get to a certain point in their careers when they become big superstars, when the Shakur Stevensons hit a certain level, when the Jamel Charlos hit a certain level, the Errol Spences, the Terrence Crawfords, the biggest stars, the Canelo Alvarez's. Once they hit a certain level, they want that exclusive energy, right? They want they want everything built around them. And it does seem like at one point or another, Jose Benavidez Sr. did seem to have his attention span spread very thin. And maybe being the father of David Benavidez wasn't acknowledging that as much and was still demanding a certain amount of acknowledgement of power and respect. I think David Benavidez, as his own man, having his own children, having a wife, 2 sons now, but at the time a son and a daughter, I think that alpha in him wasn't going to allow him to just be folded like that. And ultimately he ended up pushing back at that whole entire position that the father was occupying, and decided to separate himself from his father. And he spoke on not speaking to his father in over 6 months at one point in time. And and a lot of the boxing space weren't completely aware of it. I had some understanding that something was going on in the background. I think we've seen that bleed into I think Jose Benavidez Sr. hit a crossroads to where he had to kind of make a decision, and I think he made the right decision. And that decision was to stand by his son, and his son also made a decision to stand by his father. But unfortunately, I think as a byproduct of that, we've seen, the Diego Pachecos and the Rayo Venezuelas and people like that they had their own experience, and they also wanted to be treated a certain way. So we saw a lot of people go their separate ways. We saw Rayo leave in not the nicest way. That was an ugly breakup, but it looks like this Diego Pacheco was a very looks like it was agreed upon, right? That Senior wasn't fighting to have Diego Pacheco stand back, that he understood and allowed him to move forward with his career and go into wherever direction he's going into as far as his training is concerned, and that he was comfortable and he was moving forward with his son, right? It is what it is. Water. Woo. So yeah, so that was interesting, right? To see these interviews really these interviews are real transparent perspective on what these fighters are thinking about. Jerron. We got to see what he's going to do. Let's see what the next option is going to be. At this point, with Virgil Ortiz getting ready to make a fight with Erickson Lubin, like he stated, depending on Erickson Lubin's health after that, with Virgil Ortiz's health after that fight, we'll see what direction Virgil goes in. And also, we got to see what direction he goes in on the back end of a victory. Does he go ahead and pursue the Jerron Ennis fight, or does he go and pursue a title shot? He's worked so hard to get to this point. Does he try to lock in a fight between him and Sebastian Fundora, or if Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman, fight the winner in that fight for him to get the winner of that fight, right? It is what it is. Salute to Rick Timms. Was goody. Let me see. Much love to you in the chat. Salute Devontae Richardson in the building. I am going to put the link out there, though, if anybody wants to come up and build. You know what I mean? Like I said, this was a pop-up. Really just wanted to share a little bit on some perspective on what's happening with the Oscar De La Hoya conversation as far as Dana White is concerned. We spoke on Teofimo Lopez, right? We spoke on Teofimo and Shakur Stevenson, and where we stand on that. Really just getting right to the point, right? And so if anybody wants to step up, there's a link right there. You can hit it. I'm not going to be up here that long. Otherwise, let me see here. Our Soak says, that's so crazy. Virgil doesn't have a title. So weird to me. I don't think it's weird. I do think it's time, though, right? I do think it's time, our Stokes. I think it is what it is. You know what I mean? This fight right here is going to be a real test for Virgil as well. So, this is going to be a big litmus test for where Virgil Ortiz is. I know a lot of people are sold on Virgil Ortiz. I can see why. I've seen things in the way Virgil Ortiz has fought that's made me question some things. I think he is a solid product, a solid fighter. But is he the finished product? Is he the champion that everybody wants him to be at 154? Is he that guy? I don't know. You know what I mean? My God, Dub. What's good, Dub?
What's up, man? I've been saying what's up to you in the chat. You ain't.
I ain't seen where. Let me see. I ain't see. I was talking and I ain't see you. I still don't see you. You must have been early in the chat. Yeah, I don't see you in here.
It's definitely on it.
Hold on. Well connected. Nah, bro, I don't see you, man. You're not on here, bro. I don't see you in here. Let me see here. I'm missing something here. Hold on. Yeah, I don't see you in here, bro. I don't see you. But what's good with you, though, family? What's good?
What's up with you, man? I just came back from the gym.
No doubt. Were you over there at Enigma?
Yeah.
How's everything going over there?
Oh, man, it's going great. They got spawn in the morning. Twan spot in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's Twan doing? He getting ready for his big fight?
Yeah, he got some good spawn too. You remember Body Snatcher, right? Dave Whitman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he been sparring him too. Man, they been going at it, man. That's some good work right there.
Yeah, man, that fight right there. I was talking to somebody about that fight the other day, and people are split on that one. People are split down the middle between him and Hiroka. A lot of people feel like he's gonna win it, but people are like, "Yo, man, they're looking for Hiroka for the upset." You know what I mean?
I ain't gonna lie. I thought the betting community don't think that. I thought the odds would have been way closer. They got Twan a -290.
Yeah. No, man. I mean, I got him the favorite too, but it's interesting to hear. You thought it was gonna be closer. I hear you, but you got people who are still talking.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a -160 or you know what I'm saying, -120. They got a -290. You can't even really for every $100 for every 290 you put down, you only win $100.
Exactly. What is it for Hiroka? Like a plus? Plus the opposite number?
Nah, it don't go like that. He a plus 180, I think.
Okay.
Or he might be a plus 200.
They're probably just trying to get people to bet. They're trying get people to give Hiroka, you know what I mean, to bet on Hiroka so they can win some money.
Nah, the odds, so it opened up he was a -160 when it opened up, when they first opened the bet, but he a -290 now, so that means everybody been betting with Antoine. Okay. The majority been betting with Antoine.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's favored. I think he's favored, and I don't think people are really familiar with Andy Hiroka like that. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of people. Go ahead.
Now, what you about to say?
I said I think a lot of people aren't familiar with Andy Hiroka like that. They're not. You know, they think about Gary and they're like, "Who's this Andy Hiroka guy?" And you know, they kind of going with Antoine just off of the strength of familiarity. You know what I'm saying? That they might not be as familiar with Andy. Well, I think Andy's a dog.
I think it's Greg Hackett broke it down. I think the reason why a lot of people, so you know, you got different levels. You know what I'm saying? Even though, remember, I used to been talking about Andy Hiroka before he was ever fighting him. I was saying that remember when we named the top 140 pounders,
Mm-hmm.
and I named them, and a lot of people was like, who's that? I felt like he can beat Richardson Hitchens. I felt like he could beat a couple top guys at 140. But the thing about Andy Roca is his resume. He haven't fought nobody. So these guys we seen him, and I never really paid attention to that. These guys we seen him dust off. They actually have very horrible records. Like he only fought 2 undefeated fighters and 1 fighter, and that was early in his career. And 1 was Jen Sasaki. One of the undefeated fighters he beat was Jen Sasaki. And then he fought 2 fighters with 1 loss. So he only fought 2 undefeated fighters at the time and 2 fighters with 1 loss. Everybody else he fought had like 7, 10, 30 something losses. And then they over there in Japan. And he has a lot. His best, his key wins was against Sasaki and Barroso. Them was his best wins. I think that when you
he's a little artificially flavored. You think we're giving him a lot of respect, but he's not really. I
gave him more credit until I really started really paying attention to the guys he was fighting there. He only fought 3 times in America, and all three of them times in Vegas. But he only fought 3 times over here. Then another thing, he has a lot of flaws.
Do you think he gives you like a bit of a Jin Sasaki energy, like somebody who kind of takes too many risks in the ring a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Like, does he go for it a little bit too much? And he fights them like
Jin Sasaki. Jin Sasaki is, when you pay attention to Jin Sasaki film, he is really horrible. He just one of them. So Andy Aroka is half black, half Japanese. He's not just with Andy Aroka, he fights more like his defense is. He does that hop in and out of range, like how Shakur jumps in range and jumps out of range.
Right.
He does a lot of that, but he does it with his hands down. And then on top of that, like when he's close, if you go watch some tape of him, when he fights and he's up close, he got his hands down. He getting hit with shots that somebody with some pop will actually knock him out.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying when I was comparing him to Jin Sasaki, I meant like how poor on defense he is. You know what I mean? That he has bad habits of being. What I notice is a lot of these fighters who have these high knockout ratios, but their records are really padded, and they're not like that. Even Virgil Ortiz, as good as he is, and for all the credit we can give to Virgil Ortiz, when he got in the ring with Bohachuk and he finally ran into that wall, he got sat on his pocket 2 times. I'm saying, like you get comfortable with being irresponsible in the ring. If you're not a sound fighter, you know what I mean? And I think we saw Abdullah Mason go through that as well with Johan Vasquez, right? Where he got comfortable fighting a certain way and getting a certain result. And even if he got hit before, nothing's ever hurt him. So he became even more irresponsible. So boom, Johan sits him down in his pocket 2 times. That's why I'm thinking Andy probably carries that same energy to a certain degree, and somebody who's as quick and explosive and as accurate as Gary Antoine is. There's a good chance that we might see Andy Hiroko get washed up inside of 2 or 3 rounds and see Gary Antoine get back to his knockout ways. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's a good chance that he might go up out of there. I think that he has a lot of bad habits.
Oh, you freezing? Yeah, he's frozen. Yeah, I think that fight with Gary Antoine and Andy Hiroko is set to be a very interesting, exciting fight. I think it's going to be exciting one way or the other, whether he gets stopped, whether Andy gets stopped or whatever have you. It's going to be exciting because I know Andy's going to come and fight. He's an exciting fighter, but I think this might be stylistically a serve up for Gary Antoine. Gary Antoine might really overdo it on this dude and really just get him out of there. You know what I mean? Just get him out of there early. Yeah, Dub is definitely frozen, so we'll let him get get back together. When I see him back in there, I'll pull him back up here. But there's a link, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody want to pop up in the building, there is the link. Please feel free to hit it. Let me see here what's going on. Walaikum salam, Flyer Frequency. I see you in the building, man. 2 cents says Bakram the champion last I checked. Okay. I guess there's a conversation going on here. Calling out Terrence doesn't make sense. He didn't call out Terrence. If you're talking about Jerron, he didn't call Terrence out. He definitely didn't call Terrence out. If anything, he kind of made it clear that he has no plans on fighting Terrence, and he's not willing to move around or do anything to make that fight happen with Terrence, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. Pop Shark said Eddie didn't say that. He wasn't. Guys, yeah, I don't see it the same way. I don't think Eddie called out Terrence. I think Eddie just spoke to the elephant in the room, right? And the elephant in the room is that Terrence Crawford and Terrence. Oh God, I'm all over the place today. Terrence Crawford and Jerron Boots Ennis is a huge fight, and I think he would love to have that fight. But is his fighter Jerron Boots Ennis willing to move up in weight to make that fight? That was a question we had last week, right? Was a question as to whether or not Jerron Boots Ennis would take advantage of an offer if Terrence Crawford made an offer at 160 or 168 to get a shot of becoming undisputed in super middleweight division or whatever have you. Would he take that opportunity? Would he take 168 to get a shot of becoming undisputed in super middleweight division or whatever? Pop Shop, I can hear myself, so I need you to put the volume down on your YouTube. I need you to put the volume down on your YouTube, bro. Your YouTube. You need to put it down. I can hear myself. So
can you hear me? You good?
My check. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I'm good now. Yep.
All right.
Man.
What's good? What's good?
Yeah, doing good, man. Doing good. I saw you in the comment section speaking on Terrence and Jerron. What were you saying?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that all over social media, we are all seeing all over social media where he's only mentioning Terrence Crawford.
Who is?
Ever since Eddie's been mentioning Terrence Crawford, the only one that he's speaking facetiously, speaking in codes, but you all know who he's talking about. He's talking about, in the end, Bud Crawford, but he's not mentioning nobody else after that. After his fight, who is he scheduled to fight after that? We already know the bull job that's going on with Ortiz. You heard all that. Bakram responded back to him on the tweet. Let's go. I'm ready. We haven't heard him respond back to that at all. He's only mentioning Terrence Crawford. We don't want to see Terrence Crawford because Terrence Crawford don't even want to fight him because he said he ain't did nothing yet. He said it out of his mouth. That's why I'm saying Eddie is doing all the calling out. And it was even on video where you got Boots in the background cheering it on like, yeah. Come on, we don't want to see that. You already know Bud ain't gonna fight you.
I think Boots is cheering it on as far as, Eddie, if you can put it together, I'm down to fight him. You know what I mean? But I think if you watch the Ariel Heilwani interview today, you see that Boots stated clear, like, because Ariel asked him straight up if there was an opportunity at 160 or 168, would you go and fight Terrence? And he said, listen, man, he said, if I go up in weight, I ain't coming back down in weight, right? So he said, and I want to unify 154 and beat all the champions down here. So to me, that was a clear, I'm not that excited or I'm not looking to fight Terrence Crawford at the cost of moving or derailing my plans on what I plan on doing at 154. So that really eliminates the possibility to fight outside of Terrence Crawford conceding to the idea of coming back to 154 to fight against Boots, which I don't see why he would do that, right?
Well, see, this is the whole plan, and this is what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks. Boots got to put in work. Fighting these guys that he's fighting, he's not putting in work. We've already heard from Turkey that he wanted to fight. He wanted two tune-ups. We've heard Turkey say that. Then we come back and we heard Ortiz said that when they were making negotiations, he said that he wanted to have two. So that's at least two people that we know, two different people that came with the same verbiage. So is that two people telling the same lie? or just the guy that's really saying it? Because the next fight that he had was Lima. So that's really the proof in the pudding. Yeah, Lima is not really a challenge. Excuse me. So we can go off this for what's happened, that he really wanted two tune-ups. So who is he going to fight next? Is he going to fight another tune-up? Because the way I see it, you're at 154. So you've already shown and already spoken on that you're ready for these guys. You already said what you said in the ring. You can go after one of the champions in 154, get you a belt. You're a unified champion at 154. Petition that. Move up to 160. You move up to 160, now you a 3-time unified champion if you can beat somebody at 160. Because what Terrence is thinking about doing is possibly coming back down to 160 and become an undisputed. Be a stump in the ground for that. Already be at 160. If he put in the work, he can make this happen in 26. I mean, in 20, in late 26. If he get on his horse, he can do that.
Yeah, but he's not looking to do that. He's looking to unify because he wants to unify.
Why would he leave 154 already?
Yeah, he's not going to leave 154. It don't make sense. If 154 is the hottest division in boxing right now, it makes no sense for him to leave out of it.
They're going to say he's ducking smoke if he leaves 154 and go to 160. 154 got all them killers down there. He leave 154 and go to 160. They're going to say, oh, he was ducking that smoke. And then he built at 154 because if he beat the dude that Joanna Tellers lost to, they're going to say, oh, he went after the weakest champion.
Yeah.
Okay,
he dominate that dude.
As fans in 154, who we want to see Boots fight?
Everybody.
2 fighters, not 2 fighters. You don't need to fight everybody. Everybody in a dog. 2 fighters that we want to see Boots fight.
Lubin, Sebastian.
He'll beat Lubin. He'll beat Lubin.
I mean, we still want to see that fight though. That'd be a good fight. Lubin not a bum.
I ain't say he'll bum, but I don't think he'll match up he wouldn't match up the Boots.
He'll
Boots
match
at
up. He'll fight him. It'll be a fight. I think Boots will win.
Do a Burns, a beat. Do tell it. For that. Ain't nobody think Abbas, but what's the name? Abbas, Burroughs, whatever. Who thought he'd be Joanna Tellers?
Yeah, I mean, every dog has their day, right? But I think at the end of the day, Boots is a legacy fighter, and that's what I want him to continue to be. That's why I appreciate him being. I want him to attack the champions. I want him to take belts. I want him to unify. I want him to become undisputed, and I want to see him move on with his career. I don't think his career needs to be built around fighting no Terrence Crawford. I don't think, especially moving your career to fight Terrence Crawford. That's the worst thing, right? Don't lose all the opportunity you got at 154 just to chase somebody down who's not even. I can see Terrence offers him the fight and like, yo, I want to make the fight with you. Turkey's like, listen, I want you to fight him. It's going to be at 160. Maybe the conversation will turn at that point, because for me, if he turns away from that and says, nah, man, I'm good, I might feel some kind of way about that, but I wouldn't throw that past Boots to do that. Donnell Austin says, Clay, you're beginning to sound like a PR team. It's not a PR team. It's not about being a PR team for Boots. It's about being real. I think people have a hard time. I don't know how people have gotten to the point to where they can throw Boots to the side as somebody who's not who he is, just because he doesn't want to fight the fights you want him to fight when you want him to fight them. Right? You know what I'm saying?
But bro, he called these people out. Excuse me for cutting you off, but he the one called these people out. The reason why he called it when after his fight, he called those people out. He said, "I want all." What was he said? What's his name? Bakram? Yeah, I want Bakram or Ortiz. Fundora. Yeah, he called the top guys out. He did that. So why should we?
That's what he's supposed to do. That's 154. Exactly. That's what he. So how does him moving to 160 to fight Terrence Crawford go with what he said?
That's a foresight, my brother. I'm saying he fight these two. If he gets 2 belts, if he don't want to be undisputed, because we got to think the guy's got what 30.
You don't think he wants to be undisputed?
No, I don't think he wants to be undisputed. I don't think he wanted to be undisputed. I don't think he wants to be undisputed.
You named everything else. He said the fight. He said that too. He said he want to be undisputed.
I don't think he wanted to be undisputed.
Yeah,
I ain't say he didn't. I ain't say he didn't say it. I ain't say he didn't say it. But what I'm saying is, when you start talking about what you want to do, and if opportunities arise, if you having 2 fights, you got to think these guys don't fight like like they. It's just it's an ensemble right now. He just fought a fight and he came out unscathed. It's not it's not likely that fighters do that all the time. He just got into a situation where he can go back and fight in February, in my opinion, because the dude just fought a glorified what's the name fight, so he can go back and fight in February. You know what I mean? So why can't you fight a Bakram? He'll be on the same timeline. It'll be something that the people will want to see. It'll be a well-known name, even the hardcore and casual.
Pop. I ain't gonna lie. I think you're jumping from one point to another point. Like you're going from him moving to 116, fighting Terrence, and by the end of 2026, and now you're back at 154, asking him to fight the fighters that he's actually saying he's willing to fight. I mean, I think in due time, my thing is when it's all said and done, if he fights all of these fighters, what can anybody say to him? You know what I'm saying? Like people are trying to paint a narrative. This guy don't want no smoke. He don't want this, but he can't fight everybody at the same time. And if he fights Abbas Baharu next, what's wrong with that? He's a champion. It's a way. I don't care if he's the easiest. So what? He should go fight the easiest guy now. F it, especially if that's the only guy in real time, because it's a belt. Now better than later. Well, I should wait for. Here's the reality, right? If he passes on Abbas Baharu, right? And let's say Xander coordinates a fight with Baharu, right? And he unifies. How stupid is that to just allow somebody else to take the easy fight and become a unified champion? Why wouldn't I just take a belt that's right there? I'm a legitimate interim WBA title holder right now. Why would I just look away from that and allow somebody else to step in there and take that fight just to prove something to you guys that what am I proving? What's
wrong?
I'm gonna tell you why not Clay in his situation. First off, right, we know that you gotta sell yourself. You gotta sell yourself, right? We know that Boots sales has went down. The last fight he just was at, I was there. Floor seats I bought 2 floor seats for $280. That's $140 a piece for 2 floor seats, right? Whereas though the first fight, the first fights in Philly, the last fights in Philly, all of them was sold out. This fight has so many empty seats, right? Right now, Boots stock, he's trying to build his stock back up. So he needs a big fight. He needs a big fight to get them fans back in them seats. To bring his stock back up. It's different for him. Like, he can't just go and fight. He just came in and fought a tune-up, a dude we never heard of, and knocked him out in the first round in a minute. Right? Now you're going back that performance up with a Baz Baru, whatever, a person that nobody heard of. Like, you need for your stock to sell so you can sell tickets, so you can build your brand. Your name is a brand. Like it's different from back in the days when the champ, as long as you fought a champion, you know what I'm saying, the 2 champions fought, and they made all the champions fight back then. Now it's like they don't even worry about fighting a champion. They worry about fighting the most popular fighter.
I think personally, if I'm Boots, man, fuck all that. I feel like this boxing space and the fans is nobody that I need to care about that much. I think the guys
are paying his bills, baby.
Nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? Not to that point. Not to that point, because the reality is
you ain't saying from a fighter's. These fighters, they are geeking to build their brand. Like he
will build his brand. Although, hold on. All those fights that Boots, y'all talking about Boots, y'all want to see him fight, are bigger fights if he's a champion. All of them. If Boots picks up that belt from Baharo and becomes a full WBA champion, that means the fight with Xander is a unification fight. The fight with Virgil could be a unification fight if he fights Sebastian Vergara. The fight with Bakram will be a unification fights. They're bigger fights now. They're still there. They don't mean a bigger fight because of unification fight. Because that's the case that Antoine Russell would have fought Richard Hitchens. He wouldn't be chasing Devin Haney. Why isn't Antoine fighting Richard Hitchens?
He didn't take the contract. He felt as though it was a high risk. Hitchens in, right? Yeah. That's exactly. Unification, though. It's a unification.
Yeah, but he don't want. I mean, I don't want to
why
get.
he keep calling out Devin Haney if a unification will be big for him? Why he keep calling out Devin Haney? Who didn't
Wait, hold on, wait. We're not everybody. The shoe don't fit everybody, right? I'm talking about specifically with Jerron Boots Ennis. Do we want to see him fight Bakram?
Yes.
So
yes.
Do we want to see him fight Virgil Ortiz?
Yes.
Yeah, Virgil Ortiz.
Hold on. Do we want to see him fight Xander?
Eventually.
Or all those guys champions?
Who does that? Hold up. Xander doesn't have a belt.
Xander's a WBO champion. What are you talking about?
The champions are Fedor.
Xander got one.
Bakaram, Fedor.
Xander.
Oh, yeah, Xander got. Okay, well, first said Virgil Ortiz not a champion then.
What I'm saying is, we're going to assume that Virgil Ortiz is going to head down the road to become a champion, right? So what I'm saying is,
Xander had an intern though.
No, he's a full champion. He fought for a vacant title. What I'm saying is, Jerron Boots Ennis having a belt makes all those fights bigger. It doesn't make him smaller. Those fights are there for him to fight.
But look, if he fights, check this out. What would be a bigger fight? Jerron Boots Ennis and Abaus, or Jerron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz?
Virgil Ortiz and Jerron Boots Ennis is the bigger fight, right? But the reality is Virgil, in my opinion, it's 50-50 being optimistic, but in reality, probably more like 60-40, 70-30, that Virgil's probably going to go fight for a title next after he fights, if he wins this fight with Erickson Lubin. Now, he's not going to make this fight with Jerron Ennis next. That's what I believe. Right.
Exactly.
So that being said,
so why they scream? Why are they screaming at them? Why are they screaming? They just screamed that after the fight, after Boots' last fight.
You talking about why did Boots scream that?
No, not just Boots. Eddie Hearn screamed it. Virgil said that he said he don't want to get too ahead, but he said at the beginning of 2026, you can look forward to a fight between either him or Boots or him and Xander. He said, but it's going to be one or the other. Beginning of 2026.
Okay, there it is. I don't know. Why did he say the winner of Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman?
He didn't say that. He said,
but that's not going to happen because that's on a back burner right now.
They got pushed back. But
yeah, I don't even know if that fight's going to happen. To be honest with you, I don't think that fight. I'm 50-50 as to whether or not that fight between Keith Thurman and Sebastian Fundora even happens. But that being said, right?
Keith Thurman's going to interview and say that he looking forward to get to fight him.
He looks nervous to me. He looks nervous. He looks nervous about the fight. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, not that he's gonna lose. He looks nervous.
But it didn't get pushed back because of Keith though. It got pushed back.
It don't matter. It don't matter. He's feeling something shaky in the water. You can tell by the way he's talking. He's feeling politics about the play. He's feeling it. He's like, yo, he's even saying in the interview, like, yo, Sebastian, don't back out of this, man. Everybody's thinking that you backing out. Everybody ain't thinking you backing out. You think he's backing out. You're the one nervous. You don't like what it's looking like because the fight between you and him isn't getting that type of attention. And there's an argument out there, and there's rumors, and there's whatever you want to call it out there circulating around the space that this fight is this whole event card being canceled on the back end of a hand contusion is diabolical. That the reality is that people are questioning as to whether or not Sebastian Fundora's team is really looking at that Keith Thurman fight the same way they were looking at it before. They're not looking at other opportunities. And Sebastian may also be pushing back at the fight. He may be sitting there going, you know what? You made me vacate my WBO title, bro. And now Xander's the champion. And now, instead of doing a unification, you want me to fight this guy, Keith Thurman.
Ain't that Stephen Fulton in one undercard of that fight?
Yeah, they're fighting on the Esau Cruz, Pitbull Cruz, Esau
Cruz. Oh, no, they on Roach. They on Lamont Roach.
Right.
But in Keith Thurman and Fundora, it's already a signed contract.
Oh yeah, it's been signed. They contract already signed.
Yeah, they signed it. But we've seen a lot of signed contracts in the past couple of months not really hold that weight and make it turn into a fight. So at the end of the day,
I'm saying though, Keith want that dollar. To be honest with you, Keith want that dollar, so he'll take him to court.
Hell yeah, Keith gonna sue their ass.
Yeah, Keith gonna sue him. Maybe Keith is sue him. Maybe he will. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Keith goes and fights Manny.
Why he gonna do that? He already called out Boots.
Yeah, nah, he ain't fighting Boots. Boots don't care about no Keith Thurman.
Why not? You act like he ain't in the mix, Clay. The man get ready to fight for a belt.
Hey, look, you know they trying to set up Man, they already trying to set up a fight with Manny.
Who?
They trying to set up a fight with Manny waiting on the winner or something.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah,
You waiting on Tank?
Nah, it ain't. But Tank will fight Manny. But nah, they saying that they gonna give Manny the winner, Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know.
But you know, Tank.
Pandora,
You think about it though. That's crazy. You said Tank because Tank said he wanted to fight Manny, and Manny wanted to fight Tank.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So they can get cock blocked. But see, Tank is not gonna go to 147 and fight Manny. So Manny wanted to fight him at 140 or 130. Manny can't get down to 135.
Nah, but I mean, Tank's about to go fight. He's about to walk in the ring like 170 against Jake Paul.
So you can't use that.
He ain't that big right now.
I heard he's walking around like a solid 116 change right now.
Nah, he hell no. When last time you seen him?
That's what I heard. I ain't seen him. I'm telling you, I heard.
Hell no, he ain't that big right now.
That's what I heard.
He better get that weight up there because the fight coming.
That's BS. He's not that big right now. When he don't look that big.
I don't know. Whoever it's gonna be, I can't predict the future, right? I'm just saying that.
He got like he has some shorts on and a little hoodie, one of them gray hoodies.
Yeah, I can't predict the future. I'm not even trying. I'm just speculating, having a good time and having fun. I don't know what's gonna happen over there, but
you know what's crazy? All of this is another funny thing though. You know, all of them in Florida right now.
Nah, I didn't know that.
Lamont and them in Florida right now. You know, they training right now in Florida. And Tank and them training right now in Florida. Both of their teams in Florida right now.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think, but just going back to the boot situation, he's gonna fight. In my opinion, he's gonna fight all those fighters, bro. And it doesn't need to be an argument as to who he fights first or none of that. I have no problem with him fighting Baharu next. I just don't care. I think at the end of the day, there's a bigger picture, and I think Eddie Hearns made it clear: unify, collect all the belts at 154, go to 160, try to do the same damn thing again, and then ultimately try to do it at 168. And the belts. That's the common denominator in all their conversations. So if Abbas Baharu has a belt and he's the easiest one to beat for a belt, why not clean him up real quick and get him out the way? Bomb, get him out the way. Collect that belt.
My homie just disappointed me, Claymore. My homie just turned down a title fight, right? Everybody down here been clowning for the last couple days, right? Troy Isley just got he got sent a contract by Jennebeck. And he turned the fight down. He turned the Jennebeck fight down.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. They've been clowning down. He definitely did though. That's 100% facts. And
Troy Isley got an offer from Janabek?
Yep.
And Troy turned it down?
And turned it down. He said that, oh no, Mills said he's supposed to interview him. I think he already interviewed him. I'm going to check. But Mills said he's going to interview him and ask him about it. But it's definitely facts. Yeah, he turned the contract down by Jennebeck. I think he said it wasn't enough money. I think it was the money situation.
That's crazy. If you did that, I mean, if you don't think you're ready, you're not ready. I guess I don't know. That's what that says to me. It says to me that he doesn't think he's ready. So, it is what it is, man. He's being honest with himself. He's being.
To me, I don't know. That sounds like he was some scurrish stuff.
Hey, he doesn't think he can do it. I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, but let me ask you guys a question though, man. With this whole entire I know what most people are gonna say, but I'm still out on it. I'm trying to figure out for myself how I feel about it. But what do you guys think about Oscar De La Hoya? Did you see Oscar De La Hoya's interview with Ariel Heilwani?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh man, you didn't see it, Doug?
Nah, I didn't see it. I heard something about is that the interview we talking about Ryan on there?
He's talking about Ryan. He was talking about Dana White, TKO, the Ali Act situation. I'm very interested as to salute Curtis Robinson. I'm very interested as to what has been added to or taken away from the Ali Act. I want to know what it is that's because they haven't erased the Ali Act. They added stuff to it. I want to know what has anybody done the research as to what it is that's being affected by on the Ali Act that hurts the fighters. Does anybody in real time know what has been reformed?
Nah, but I ain't read it, but only me and you read research stuff like that. Like
Right.
don't be reading that type stuff. But nah, I ain't read it.
I think people are just jumping out the woodworks on this, and I don't think nobody can answer that. You know what I'm saying? What has it been? What's been done to this Ali Act that has everybody in ripped apart like that? Like I don't get it. You know what I mean?
What did De La Hoya say about it? Because I mean,
De La Hoya is I'm gonna be honest with you, man. God, bro, I just want to be fair, right? I think that man is a legit liar, bro.
Yeah,
like,
I agree with that.
I don't.
He didn't tell you that though. He said that. He said that on one of them little clapback Thursdays.
What did he say?
That how they be calling him a liar. He said he admit that he fabricated the story a little bit, but what is Eddie Hearn? He was saying Eddie Hearn bigger liar than him.
Yeah, I mean, it's always one thing to compare a liar to a liar, but bottom line is the way he speaks, his tonality is not genuine to me. I have a hard time processing what he says without it sound. He sounds like a snake. He sounds greasy. Sounds so horrible at times. It's just like you know what I mean? Like he's like, yeah, he's gonna change the act, and he just never says anything solid. Like,
yeah,
like I would appreciate if Oscar would just speak towards what's happening in the Ali Act, right? Like, yo, they're gonna change this, they're gonna change that. You know what I mean? They nothing. It's just always this picture being painted. It's real political, and you see him doing that inside his big mansion of a crib. And understand another thing he said to me was, he says boxing is great the way it is. I wouldn't change anything. It's like, what? Boxing needs changes, bro. Period. It needs changes. Does everything need to be changed? No. But whenever I hear talk like that, he's just basically saying to me, I've become rich as hell off the way boxing is. And I don't want nothing to change off of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I hear. Here's what Google has to say right here. The key proposed changes right here. Here's some of the key proposed changes that Google has listed here. One of the big ones is Unified Boxing Organization, UBO, right? Which is what TKO is. And it says the bill allows for the creation of alternative unified boxing organizations that would operate outside the current system of sanctioning bodies. So we know that Dana White wanted to be able to do that. Basically, clearly in the bill, there was stipulations or verbiage in the bill that went against giving him the ability to do what he wants to do, which is participate in the boxing space, but outside of the rules of the sanctioning bodies, outside of it being under a WBC, WBO, WBA, or IBF sanctioning body rule situation, right? He doesn't want to deal with that. He feels like that system is corrupt, and he wants to do something from the ground up. So that's one thing that makes sense. I don't see how that hurts the fighters yet, right? Then I see the second thing on here. It says exclusive contracts, right? It says a UBO model would permit promoters to sign fighters to exclusive contracts, similar to the UFC, okay? So honestly, I don't see that as an issue because that's what the other promoters are doing anyway. They're just doing it and also in agreement with these sanctioning bodies. He wants to operate outside of the sanctioning bodies is the big thing, the number one thing. So, but they're all dealing with contracts. I believe that's what Ryan Garcia we could argue that's what Ryan Garcia is going through right now with Oscar De La Hoya. Yes or no? Right? Like he's fighting for his freedom from Oscar De La Hoya, right? That's what he's doing, right?
I think what you're about to read is going to be the kickback.
What the next one? Organizational titles, right? So the UBO would be able to create their own championship belt and ranking system. Okay. How does that hurt the fighters?
I think that's what Oscar is speaking to, because they're with the old sanctioning bodies. Is, bringing in a whole new belt, a whole new system is like separating from what boxing has been and what we've been known it for. IBF, IBO, WBO, IBF and all of that. All of those, he's creating his own championship, his own system. So it's like, if you're under the old system, if you're an IBF ranked champion, and you want to fight, I guess his champion, how will you go about negotiating that fight? Where you got a lot of logistics behind that. You know what I mean? Network, stationing, money, and all that.
So let me ask you this, right? I'm gonna read the next one, but I want to ask you this question. Fine. I think what we're seeing then is Oscar De La Hoya has a relationship with these sanctioning bodies. And that's why he reiterates the history. Oh, the history. Everybody wants to be a WBO champion and WBC champion. Everybody wants to become, one of these champions in the belt, because these belts are so rich in history. And I've held those belts, and the greats before me have held those belts, and things of that nature, it's fair. It's fair that he says that, right? But that's not something that hurts the fighters, giving Dana White. See, the thing about it is it's an option, right? The fighters don't have to fight underneath these rules. The part of the Ali Act that protects the fighters, I have not seen that part attacked yet, right? I haven't heard that. Now watch this. Boxer pay and safety. Proponents claim the bill includes provisions for higher minimum pay, which is a problem, and enhanced medical and safety protection for fighters. So that's helping the fighters, right? That's basically saying you can't pay a fighter $2,000 a fight. You have to give him a minimum payment. Right. And I think there was a pay structure model that showed that the fighters would be getting paid like a minimum of like 10 grand or 20 grand a fight. I can't remember what the number was. You know what I'm saying? A minimum. And this is for the lower tier fighters. Not for the higher tier fighters who are going to be more so concerned about asses and seats and pay-per-views and merch and all that stuff. Right. So that's what the proposed changes are. Now, here's the arguments against the proposed changes. Right. Here's the arguments that are made as to what will happen if these things are messed with. Weakened protections. It says critics, this is very interesting, right? It says critics believe the new provisions will weaken the protection of boxers provided by the original Ali Act, such as transparency in financial dealings and freedom from coercive contracts. But I think this is very important right here. Critics believe, right? That's not a fact that's what's going to do. This is what critics believe, right? So this is their argument as to why nothing should be changed, because they think that this is going to get changed, even though the verbiage up top, which is what the proposed changes are, doesn't speak towards anything like that, right? Then it says market control. There's a concern, once again, another important word, a concern, not a proven fact, not written, not actually proposed, but there is a concern that the UBO model could lead to a monopolistic market, giving a few large organizations too much control, suppressing fighter pay. I think that verbiage is misleading. You know what I'm saying? First of all, monopoly means what? Control of everything. So is there a concern? That sounds like there's a concern that Dana White is going to take over boxing and put Oscar De La Hoya, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, all those guys out of business. Is that what his problem is? Are people scared they're going to get put out of business by Dana White coming into space, even though you guys said that nothing moves for you guys because you guys are doing a complete different thing? That sounds like fear. Then it says opposing viewpoints. Some former MMA fighters have voiced opposition, fearing a loss of financial transparency and the ability for promoters to undercompensate fighters, especially in a system that mirrors the UFC model. Former MMA fighters are voicing an opinion on the Ali Act, something made for boxing? I'm confused. Why the hell would they care? Why would they care one way or the other unless they boxing? Am I crazy? I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm lost. I'm trying to really understand. I'm really trying to what's this here? I thought this might be something.
Are you still wearing enough layers to insulate Alaska?
You need the new.
Oh,
This vote to
pay more than sponsors.
maybe modify, if we want to call it that, the Ali Act is moving in that direction. Of course, it's backed by TKO and Zuffa Boxing, which is starting. I saw so I saw what you said on your clapback Thursday, which is always very entertaining. I've seen what you've said about the belts. Let's start with the belts, because Dana White has said they're not going to recognize those belts, the ones that you mentioned. It's going to be the Zuffa Boxing belt, just like there's a UFC title. How do you feel about this?
I just look, the fact that a new entity is coming into boxing and already wants to change a bill that has been in place for decades that protects fighters, to me, is shady. That's the bottom line.
He's full of shit. That's not even the question I got asked to him, bro. That's not what they asked him, bro. So what are you talking about? Is there an issue with the belts or not? The fact that, the fact that he went to the Ali Act and he's shut. What about the question he just asked you? What's the problem with a different belt being added to the element, right? No, let's get right to it. He's talking about changing something that's there to help fighters. Is he talking about erasing it? Is he talking about canceling it? He's talking about changing it, right? So I don't know. My thing is, why don't you get involved in the conversation? If you want to make sure that the fighters are protected, why are you not at the meeting or getting your presence felt or lobbying to be part of the conversation to make sure that those parts of the Ali Act that protect the fighters don't get played with? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you seem disingenuous. You seem disingenuous.
Think about it. It's shady. The first thing you want to do is change the law, change the rule, the Muhammad Ali Act, which protects the fighters. I instantly think about what they did with the UFC. I instantly think about the UFC signing hundreds, if not thousands, of fighters.
Hey, Clemo, go back to the question they asked you.
All right.
Whoever wins that fight becomes who are all in their prime. They will not be back in boxing. Not for a second. I'm not worried about Top Rank. I'm worried about them not getting a team. Sure that all the organizational bodies are in line with their philosophy.
Okay, so this is the perfect transition to what happened last week.
Here's the question.
And that's on Wednesday, California State Athletic Commission had this vote. A vote which you noted originally was set for December and then got moved to October. And they unanimously passed it 6-0. Now it goes to the next step. But it seems as though this vote to maybe modify, if we want to call it that, the Ali Act is moving in that direction. Of course, it's backed by TKO and Zuffa Boxing, which is starting. I saw what you said on your clapback Thursday, which is always very entertaining. I've seen what you've said about the belts. Let's start with the belts, because Dana White has said they're not going to.
So that's the question. But he's saying, let's start with the belts. Let's speak on the belts.
Recognize those belts, the ones that you mentioned. It's going to be the Zuffa Boxing belt, just like there's a UFC title. How do you feel about this?
I just look, the fact that a new entity is coming into boxing and already wants to change a bill that has been in place for decades that protects fighters, to me, is shady. That's the bottom line. Think about it. It's shady. The first thing you want to do is change the law, change the rule, the Muhammad Ali Act, which protects the fighters. I instantly think about what they did with the UFC. I instantly think about the UFC signing hundreds, if not thousands, of fighters, and they don't even see the light of day. Some fighters don't even get in the ring because there's too many fighters there. They fight them once and you never see them again.
He's lying. The UFC has always been known. Fighters, there's hardly any undefeated fighters in the UFC. So the idea that now you lost, now you never see him again. What picture is he painting? What is he talking about? What is he talking about?
I I get the perception that Oscar is like the old guy that doesn't want to see the new change, and he just if you come in looking different, he's against it. He only want to hear what you got to say, but it's just different. He's been used to it, and I mean, to the only concern that I can see that's legitimate is when Dana White said that he wouldn't recognize those other champions from the old sanctioning bodies. That's where you're gonna get these the conflict of bidding wars. Whose network is the fight going to be on? Who's going to get the A side or B side, and what champion is going to be revered as the more prolific champion? How are you going to determine that? For example, if you get the Zuffa heavyweight champion versus the WBA or the undisputed heavyweight champion from the old sanctioning body, who's going to be the A side? You know what I'm saying?
But that conversation. Well, listen. What Dana White is petitioning is he doesn't want to acknowledge those belts. He doesn't want to compete for those belts. He doesn't want his fighters competing for those belts. He wants his fighters exclusively to compete inside of this league that he's creating, and they'll be fighting for a Zuffa belt. So this is not about a competition between those guys and his guys. What he's saying is, I don't want to be in competition with you guys. I don't want to participate in what you guys are doing. I want to be able to operate in the capacity of my own organization, and I want to be able to operate, you know what I'm saying, without being supervised or look to have my fighters be part of anything that's going on over there, right? He's looking for the freedom to do that. Shout out to LW Boxing, who says Oscar has all these connections, but didn't even know that that the California State Athletic Commission was having a meeting about the Ali Reform Act. Hindsight 2020, outrage from Oscar is nasty. And then he said TGB Promotions voted in favor of the Ali Reform Act, right?
Yeah, 6-0.
So that's PBC. You know what I'm saying? That's Tom Brown, right? So they voted in favor of the Ali Reform Act. Where's the outrage from the PBC fans or from the boxing space? Where's the outrage? Where's the people who are like, damn man, you telling me Tom Brown is down with this? So is Tom Brown questionably becoming part of the destruction of boxing?
Just because Tom Brown said it, though, don't mean that the whole PBC agree with it, though, because Tom Brown is
I'm just saying that he's affiliated, right? I'm not saying the PBC is in agreement with it, but I'm saying this is somebody who works hand in hand with the PBC. And we also know that there's a running narrative or story out there, no matter how true or not true people want to say it is, that Al Heyman is really behind the scenes in control of a lot that what's going on with TGB. That's why I said PBC, because we know that the story is that in the background, TGB Promotions was put together to allow Al Heyman to operate in the capacity of a promoter without falling underneath the Ali Act, that he would be a platform that would let fighters fight, right? And he wouldn't be connected with them, but that they would be under Tom Brown. But we know that there's an argument out there to say that that's literally something that Al Heyman and the PBC has done to circumvent the Ali Act, right?
Let me say this, right. But now I'll talk to you on the
Okay.
Right. But I'm gonna say this though, right? I'm gonna let the chat and everybody do their research. But it's a Hall of Famer, a famous fighter that we all know is the reason why TGB got created, right? So Al Heyman was this guy manager and promoter. This famous fighter found out
Come on, Floyd Mayweather. Go ahead.
God damn, Clay, well, I said let the chat do the research.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Go ahead. My bad. I'm like, okay, my bad. Go ahead.
So people want to know why like Floyd Mayweather, like what I was saying now, but people want to know why, Floyd be having like a loud Lord say so with the PBC. He always say, if you're a PBC fighter, you're a money team fighter. He was saying that because he sued Al Heyman, right? Whatever their agreement was outside of court, or whatever they settled outside of court or whatever, that's when all that partner stuff came about, and he came up with the money team or whatever, came up with his own promotional company or whatever. But to not make that mistake again, that's when TGB came about.
Right. So there's definitely a connection there at the end of the day that we're all aware of. There's a connection there. So if Tom Brown is in agreement and voted in favor of this, right, it is what it is. But let's continue this and see what Oscar's saying.
I think for that fact alone that they're trying to change the bill right off the bat is shady.
Why do you like the bill? Why do you think it should not be changed?
There's total transparency with the bill. You're obligated as a promoter to disclose, everything that might be in the pot. The fighters call it the pot.
That's so greasy. The fighters call it the pot. It's ridiculous, bro.
You just don't like anything he say. You ain't gonna like.
Nah, it's greasy, bro. Because he's beating around the bush. He's not. Ariel Heilwani asked him a direct question, right? And he's playing around with wordplay. And the thing about it that annoys me a little bit is that there's a narrative there that by adding whatever got added to the Ali Act, that's allowing Dana White to operate his business in boxing the way he wants to operate it. By adding whatever verbiage they added to it, he's painting this look that it's going against this part of the Ali Act, that by whatever Dana's doing, that now the transparency is gone. Is that what, do we believe that? Do we know that?
That's not true.
It's a fake narrative. This is like liberal news and conservative news, right? It's like liberal and conservative news. Like on the liberal side of the news, they're gonna say that the president is a rebirth of Adolf Hitler, right? That he's gonna do all this stuff, and they're gonna paint this picture, even though we don't see nothing. But on the conservative side, they're gonna paint that the liberals are all like, they want to just flood the country with immigrants, and they want everybody to be gay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what the hell?
What I'm saying is, it's a narrative.
No homo.
Yeah, no homo. My bad. But I'm just saying,
you gotta say that twice. No homo, no homo.
No homo, no homo. But I'm just saying it's a narrative. I'm just trying to compare it to say that he's using gaslighting words. He's using words to make it look like what Dana White is doing is this is the direction it's going in, right? But he's not going to stand on and give no proof of anything. He's just putting speculation out there. He's being a boxing promoter, right? He's lying is what he's doing, and he's filling it up with a bunch of filibuster and a bunch of fluff, but it doesn't add up anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, let's let him finish talking. Hold on.
And you're obligated to disclose, the financial status of your event, of the fighter's event. If you're a main event fighter, a championship fighter, you have every right to look at the books.
You notice he did not say if you're just a contender, if you're a prospect, if you're a regular fighter, which is what Dana White is working with, right? Dana White is not working with the champions. He's not working. His organization is a farming business model where he's just bringing his own fighters, up and coming contenders and prospects, not champions. He's not bringing over Shakur and David Benavidez and Sebastian Fundora, and he's not bringing the champions. The champions are still going to be operating. His league is for his league, right? So the reason I bring that up is to say, is the Ali Act necessarily protecting these little guys? What does it benefit these little guys to that point? I'm just saying to where it can't be touched.
You know what though? One thing I don't like about Dana White though. Dana White is like a control freak, man. It's like
but is that fair? Is that fair to say that a boss who's running a business is a control freak? Duh, yeah, I'm a boss.
That don't mean you got.
What am I supposed to do? Just let the company do what everybody feel like doing? I'm just let everything just move around.
No, that's with your company though. But
that's what he's talking about. Is his company.
He want to start his own league because he doesn't want to abide by their rules. So he wants to control his own league. That's
Isn't that the way to do it?
Huh?
I'm saying, you ever hear the saying, if you don't like the way I do things, why don't you start your own business? Right?
Yeah.
You come to my company, you want to tell me what to do with my company. If you don't like it, go what? Do your own company. Isn't he approaching this the way he's supposed to approach it?
He ain't just starting his company, he starting a whole league. He ain't putting a team in the he's not putting a team in the league. He's getting his own league.
Right.
That's like the NFL and the XFL. Like,
isn't that what the XFL dudes did? We don't want to do it like that. We want to do it our own way. So we made XFL.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was saying he's a control freak because he could have stayed over. If that's the case, he could have stayed over UFC. He didn't have to. Why he picked this time to cross over to boxing?
He picked this time because of Turkey.
Listen, he sees boxing right now is basically in a frivolous state that he feel like he can dominate. That he can start his own league and he can control stuff. Hopefully he get some of the stars from the other league to come over.
Fine.
Right now,
what I'm saying is look at Bradley saying you're just a big Dana fan. It's not about being a Dana fan.
It's like divide and conquer.
I'm a free market fan. I'm a fan of I believe in capitalism and the free market. I'm a big believer in it. I think through that style of business and of governing, the consumers, us, the fans, we always benefit whenever people are allowed to open up new restaurants, open up new businesses, and people don't have to do things a certain way. It's a better environment for the consumer.
But there's
no coincidence as to why you go to Houston or you go to Manhattan or you go to maybe downtown DC and you get the best food, right? In comparison to these rural areas. Why? Why is it the best food? Because at the end of the day, it's about, hold on. At the end of the day, it's survival of the fittest. By allowing the free market to operate, it makes it better for the fighters because you're giving them options. It forces the promoters to work harder for the fighters. It forces the promoters to take the fighters more into consideration by opening up more restaurants. It makes you say, man, I don't got the only pizza on this block. There's about 3 other pizza places on this block operating in their own capacity.
No, that's kind of different, though.
There's no rule saying that we got to use this amount of sauce, this amount of cheese, this amount of bread, dough. We got to have this amount. We got to have this price point. There's no rules. So
that's kind of different. That's kind of different.
Why is it different? Explain to me.
I'm gonna explain to you. So if you want to put it in food terms, right, far as a pizza, just like how they always come up with all these leagues, like when they came up with all these different football leagues. None of them stand firm and did nothing, right? They tried to come out with a basketball league. They even say LeBron and them supposed to be getting together, starting a basketball league, right? But most of the times it never makes it. When we talk about pizza, right? It's like okay, you got New York style pizza, right? They got the big old slices. It's like a person folded the pizza together, right? And say, okay, we gonna call this pizza too. We not even gonna go by what they say pizza. We gonna say this is pizza. Now we so used to eating pizza the way we eat pizza. We used to the slices shaped that way, shaped the way the slices is shaped. It's like a person just coming up with a whole nother idea, saying, okay, we're gonna use the ingredients, but we're gonna make it look different. We're gonna fold it together and say it's pizza. Just because we don't like the way that the pizza look, or we don't like the way. So,
and if the consumer base likes this new style of pizza where it's folded over and it's made into a diamond shape or it's made into a square, or it's made into a triangle. I'm trying to think, because that's what pizza is, right? It's made into a circle. Let's say they come up with a pizza now where the pizza is made into a rectangle and it hits. And the consumers are like, yo, bro, we messing with that rectangle pizza, bro. I ain't gonna lie, that rectangle pizza hit different. Could you imagine the triangle and circle pizza dudes trying to get a law? Yo, man, we can't have that making rectangle pizza, bro. Who are you? Make your pizza just as good, bro. What are we talking about? There's no regulation on what I call pizza. If I decide to take Wonder Bread, put cheese, sauce, and make that and call that pizza and sell it, if the market don't like it, the business won't do well. It won't survive. But if it survives, you might want to get on making some Wonder Bread pizza like me, especially if I'm taking no business from you. But if you want to sit here and fight and try to get me to change and say, yo, bro, there needs to be a rule. Claymore cannot call his Wonder Bread pizza, bro. This is messing everything up. What is it messing up? Your bottom line. The consumer loves it. They got a line around my stuff. They love it. So who's it hurting? It's hurting the people who's making the money. It's not hurting us, the fans, and it's not hurting the fighters.
But you know, the people. So what I'm saying is, the people are so used to doing something a certain type of for years, for decades, for centuries, that when you come out with this, it's no.
Bro,
like,
they used to hang people for witches. They used to call witches. They used to have witches, and they used to burn them at the stake, bro. But you know what? At some point in time, somebody realized that was some nonsense, and they stopped it. I'm sure those people that were burning witches at the stakes was doing it for hundreds of years. You feel me?
Have you ever watched the XFL? Have you ever watched the XFL?
Yeah, I watch it. Yeah.
You watched it, but you're not really into it.
No, I didn't like it. Yeah, I like the NFL. So what happened to the XFL?
You know why you're not, because you so used to watching the NFL. It's traditional, right? You so
okay, but what I'm saying is, if it doesn't work, it won't work. Wait, hold on. Wait, Dub, listen, right? I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you is they didn't tell the XFL they couldn't exist. The XFL just went out of business because people didn't watch it. But they were free to try it. They were free to come in without no issue.
You're still free to try this new boxing league. You free to try it.
No, not with the way the verbiage was in the Ali Act. It stopped him from doing that. And that's why he had that verbiage amended so that he'd be able to come with his own league. That's what he's trying to say, right? That's the whole point behind the whole entire proposed changes is for UBOs to be able to operate. Hold on a second, guys. Let me bring in round one into the conversation. Round one, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing? How you
doing? Well, brother.
How
you doing?
Yeah, man. I'm hearing this shit, like what you're talking about, Oscar.
Hello?
Yeah, you're muted, bro. We don't hear you.
Yo, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm listening to what you were saying about Oscar and stuff, and it's like, yeah, man. This whole Zuffa boxing and the Ali Act, to me, it's kind of weird because I'm not seeing nothing change right now with the Ali Act, but at the same time, what's changing is like the boxing, just structure. You got a lot of people now on streaming. You got streaming platforms. There's no more HBO, Showtime. Now this is like a new era of boxing where we have all these. I mean, look, DAZN has most of the names of the promotion, so we're having like where we could get the fights we want now. We don't have to see like across the street narratives and shit like that no more, because we got someone to pay it. Now what Turkey wants, what Dana do, I believe is just trying to, because even with Dana, he didn't know what he was talking about. And I was watching a video of him talking about Zuffa boxing, and he couldn't clearly tell me what it was. But I knew what it was already. Like, I didn't really need him to tell me or tell everyone or trying to sell it to me. To me, it's like a contender series, his Tuesday night contender series things. It's like that. Fighters we don't know fighting in this, where we're going to have more fights. So for boxing, it's going to be like, for boxing fans, it's going to be more fights, But for the Ali Act, I'm not seeing nothing change really because I would think it goes slowly. I don't know how bills pass. I don't know if I don't think they do that quick, really. But I'm not sure about the
not to cut you off, Ron, but what I'm saying is, I think the important thing behind what you're saying that for me it frustrates me a little bit is that people aren't waiting for the adverse changes, right? They're not waiting for the things to go bad or not to be the way we want it to be. They're speaking into it as if there's a politics in my camera's messing up. I don't know why my camera's doing this, bro. I don't know if it's my camera. I'm telling you, StreamYard, y'all seen this? I'm telling y'all about to get cut off. Y'all definitely about to get cut off. We definitely going to restream. We definitely looking at other platforms. Y'all been playing around. It's all good. Pay attention because when I'm gone, I'm gone. But anyway, that being said, right? That being said, these things aren't developing yet. We're not allowing them to develop. And my whole thing is, if you get in front of this and you don't allow Dana White to get the opportunity to do what he's doing, when you have Turkey Al-Shigan is being financed and all these different things, then you're opening up a Pandora's box to where now boxing will become controlled. That's what boxing will be to me. It will be something that is monopolized. It'll be something that is being made to look like it's open for people to come into, but it's not. You have to come in under a certain structure. The freedom of the free market cannot be stopped, should not be stopped. Because once that happens, it limits the opportunities for the fighters to really fight. It's kind of like suppressing the fighters. It's oppressing the fighters. Fighters have more options now. If you don't want to fight for Eddie, if you don't want to fight for Oscar, if you don't like the way they treat you, you may like Eddie Hearn or Oscar De La Hoya's business model for when you become a champion, right? Like when I come into the space, if I'm a champion, I may want to go over to these other places because now I've built up a following. I've got I've got 1 million subscribers on my Instagram followers. I've got my YouTube channel popping. Everybody watching me fighting on Zuffa. So when I come to Oscar is talking to a star now. Now, yeah, I don't want to be underneath a cap. I want to get paid off a percentage of the people I bring in the building, the pay-per-views that I sell, the viewership, whatever it is, whatever the barometer is, however we're judging it. I want to go to that point at that point. But in the beginning, it may make more sense for me to be with a Zuffa. Because why? Because you're not going to give me an opportunity less than like 3%. 3 to 5%, a number like that of boxers or professional boxers are reaping the benefits of being millionaires and making the most money and doing all that. They're not. Even when he spoke and he used the verbiage to describe what the Ali Act protected, he said it protects the champions, right? And the stars. You heard him say that. You didn't see him talking about those lower fighters. We just watched Abdullah Mason doing mitt drills in his basement with his dad, bro. And he's about to fight for a title. This man wasn't in a state-of-the-art gym, you know what I'm saying? Training facility, working out, nutritionist, doing all those things. This man's about to fight for a title, and he was in his basement.
Guess what, though, Claymore? Guess what? Now, this something that's crazy. You just said something about this, right? Because me and one of the trainers was talking, right? And he was saying how illiterate a lot of the fighters are, right? Whereas though a lot of the fighters don't even know that if you're about to fight for a title, no matter if you're the A side or the B side, right? You can, I forgot what he said it's called. Whereas though they take 10% of what you're making and put that towards your nutritionist, your trainer, and your chef. That he said that's in the contract, and a lot of the fighters don't even read the contract, so they never even get that 10% used towards, their facility, their sparring. They can get 10%. They supposed to get 10% of what they making on their contract towards their training and their preparation, their fight preparation. But they don't even do it. They don't even let them know. Well, they don't even ask them. A lot of them don't even know. They don't even know it's in the contract.
Yeah, I don't know. So salute Blaze pound for pound. What's good, family? How you doing?
Oh man, just chilling, man. I'm just enjoying what you talk about, and it's particularly when we're talking about the Muhammad Ali Act. I would say anybody, right? Any of us who's watching boxing, watching the sport, it's about to have an impact. They changed this legislation for a reason. There's a lot of money behind it, and there's a lot of shift in the economics with it. So we can't lazily say when you ask him, like, do you know? And I was like, no, I don't know. So I Googled it. All you got to do is Google it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all you need to do is Google it and then understand the difference between a fact and the opinion. So read the language of the bill that's being passed and then separate the actual language from people's opinions on it. Because when you look it up, the first thing you're gonna get is you're gonna get sides, right? You're gonna get
Mhm.
sides who are for it, you're gonna get sides who are against it. You're gonna get associations who are for it, you're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
associations who are against it. And so you gotta read the facts, see for yourself, and then see both sides and see how people can benefit. But for us though, just in layman's terms, like even if you don't want to do all that, it's just like you said earlier, promoters are not honest. That's just in general on how they do. Because a promoter doesn't tell you the truth. The promoter tries to persuade you and puffs up a product that they good or bad. And we can't, this would be for anything, you can't be mad at a promoter. If they have a boxer in their promotion company about to fight another boxer that's outside of their promotion company, and they try to convince you that their boxer is going to win, even though they don't know that going into the ring, right? Like it's that type of assertion from a promoter that they do, but then they extrapolate it on all these other practices. Like one of the prime examples that's big uproar right now is Turkey tweeting that we're gonna have free pay-per-views coming in November, and he's still charging for pay-per-views when he had already did it before earlier with the Bivol and Beterbiev fight, where they said it was free, and then all of a sudden they charge us like $17 to get it, if y'all recall. Like this is the same bait and switch they've done before, right? So
Mm.
it creates for individuals who kind of don't really have the capacity or had no interest in to look into the technical details of this regulations that ultimately is going to influence the sport. You get to just feel it just as a consumer and as a fan and just be like, hey, this is why the whole business is shady. But my thing is this, Clay, when we look at this, when we're talking about boxing, right? And at the end of the day, we know boxing, when they go in the ring, it's an individual sport. But there's so many people surrounding a boxer that's pivotal to the success or failure of that particular boxer. The coach, the trainers, like when you guys is talking
Mm-hmm.
about like well, I'm just thinking like for instance, and I hate to just go off, but I'm gonna bring it right back. We look at Mason, right? And you saying Mason's somewhere training in his basement, right? And it could be like, hey, maybe he could be training in his basement because, hey, they want to keep a dog mentality. But what you're saying is that they're not afforded the infrastructure for the sports science for him to put his best foot forward, and he's signed to like a major promoter such as Top Rank. Like, why aren't you funding him to have all the gym and all the supplements and everything at his access for them to be able to succeed, right? But then I would also say too, that's where your manager come in, because where your manager be super savvy. One example, what I know about business, and then I'm gonna get back to my just land my plane, is if you got a manager, right? And let's say you signed a contract, a 5-5 contract, and just say it was like 15 million, right? Having a good manager and finance team, you could take that contract to a bank and you could leverage that to get credit or get, to actually get more resources for you to kind of maneuver to put yourself in the best position with what you wanted to do if you wanted to invest into your fighter, right? You can actually get a loan off of that to open up a gym or get the equipment or do whatever you want to do. So it's kind of like there's a whole lot of discretion within a person's team and how they box that ultimately where they succeed in life. But then that brings me to where I land my plane at. I'm gonna do a little bit more research into the Muhammad Ali Act originally, what was going on before they instituted it, what did it help when they did, what it didn't do, what this new act is, because they actually made it. They it's weird because they worded it like here. I'll read it real quick. The Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act. That's what it was originally called, but then they're calling it like the Muhammad Ali Revival Act. It's like they're almost not even changing the name. You wouldn't even know that it's gutting the original act because it almost sounds like the same act, right? And that even in itself can be deception. But I would just say this: the problem that the boxing sport has when you try to compare it to other sports and protections is that it's international. And so when you're talking about a closed, regulated body or a sovereign country being able to regulate it within their laws and regulations, you're not going to be able to do that because it's international. So it's wild, wild west, right? And because it's wild, wild west, also where there ain't a union or there ain't players associations, you don't have all these boxers that are guaranteed with these with these telecommunication and these media companies to assure that they'll be able to consistently put on events. It's like, and then one example I get when I let my plane, it's like you can't predict, you can't schedule a boxer to consistently fight like 3 times a year or 2 times a year, like, and get all of them to do that because of injuries, because of everything else, where they have autonomy to do their own thing. And so, because the money isn't there, there's a disparity in the levels of compensation. You got lower fighters who will fight $200 for a fight, right? But you got superstars who are brands who actually crack the algorithm and actually go viral, and they're able to leverage being able to get that type of money. Like but if you take like a closed football league, everybody's good and everybody's within a closed system. And if somebody get injured, they can swap you out fast and the show must go on. So I'm just gonna land my plane right there. It's like, it's kind of hard to go for or against these acts like this in the US, because we're talking about an international sport and an international business. And I'll land my
Hey,
plane
Yeah.
right there.
Well,
also
I'm
too.
gonna send it right back. Let me just respond. I agree with everything you just said. By the way, I think at the end of the day, though, the only way we get a lot of these answers is by is through the free market, bro. What's in the dark will come to the light if you allow business to move the way business should move. But I think presuming things and jumping in front of things and stopping anybody from being able to, this was voted on. You know what I'm saying? This was voted on by a bunch of people. Like, and shout out to LW, who said even TGB was cool with this. They said, yo, man, we cool with this, man. We cool with this. Whatever it is that this revival act showed up as, they read it and they were like, oh, no, we cool with this part. Because and Dana said, and I know we don't believe Dana, and it's cool. I look, man, I ain't here to defend Dana, but he said the verbiage will not change at all. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to what's already been put there. All they're doing, they're adding something there that gives them the freedom to do what they are trying to do with boxing, which means that these fighters don't have to fight underneath Dana's business model. They can sit there and continue to move with boxing as boxing's been moving for years. What's the issue? I don't understand. There's a freedom there. Yeah.
Clay, this is what I want to know though, right? You said that Abdullah Mason is training in his basement, right? They training for a championship fight in his basement. I don't understand why.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. His connection just went bad. That was his connection that went bad. It's really just a free market, bro. It's just the idea of a free market, and that's how it operates. That's how that's how America is, bro. That's the great thing about America, bro. Like, I don't understand what people want, and people they want to suppress somebody's ability to do their things. And shout out to Bradley68, who said that, he doesn't trust none of these promoters. Exactly. What's the best way to keep a promoter honest or keep a business honest? Competition. That's how you do it. Who doesn't understand that? Why can't people understand that? That's the way that is the way you check and balance business, is with competition. As soon as you take away competition, you turn things into a monopoly and you make it one way or no way, that's when you get the corruption. That's when stuff starts happening. That's when you could look at a fighter and say, well, go somewhere else then. Did you hear what Oscar De La Hoya said earlier in that interview? I could put it on there. I can fast forward and show you it.
Did you hear what I said before I left?
Well, I'm just going to 3 seconds. Well, no, not 3 seconds, but like 5 to 10 seconds. Just to say that Oscar had a part in this video where he said a fighter tried to get out of a contract with him, didn't like the way the contract worked. So he said, okay, go ahead, go somewhere else and see if they're going to do something for you. And he said the fighter came back to him like 30 days later, like, yo, bro, you were right, man. I need to be over here. And he signed him back, right? Well, whatever was out there, whatever boxing had to offer him, he knew that. Oscar was arrogant, right? I'm not giving you nothing better than what I'm offering you because you can't get better. Well, now maybe there's something better. And maybe you need to take that into consideration now to when you're going and you're shopping out for these new prospects. And maybe it might work out a little bit. It's competition. Go ahead. My bad, Dub.
Now, you said that Abdullah Mason is training in his basement for a championship fight, right? I wonder, now, that got to be by choice because, first off, he's a top-ranked fighter. Top-ranked has 3 different gyms and facilities. So for him to be in his basement spawn, that's probably something that they wanted to do. And then not only that, like I told you, for a
I
championship
can tell you
fight,
the reason why. The reason they're doing that
they
is because their gym is getting moved into another building. That's why.
and on top of that,
I know
like
that's
I
the reason why.
said, for a championship fight, you can get a 10% advance on whatever you're making. If you're making 300,000, you get 30,000 to train for the fight, to prepare chefs, whatever you're gonna do, you get.
Okay, wait. You said advance, right? What does that mean?
Advance mean you get it up front before you get your check.
Which means you're paying for it.
Before you get paid.
Which means you're paying for it.
I don't know if you gotta pay it back. I'm a axe. Matter of fact, while we right here, I'm an axe.
Because you said advance. Advance means I'm giving you money on your money.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to pay it back, but I know that you get 10% of what you. So if you get if you're getting paid $1 million, you get 100,000. You can get.
What if you only getting paid $5,000? You get 500. I'm just being honest, right?
You're not gonna be fighting for no championship fight or no championship eliminator. Making no
less than what? Brian Norman Jr. got $150,000 to fight Santillan.
150,000
or less, even, right? When it was all said and done.
Yeah, but I'm saying still 150,000. That's not no 500,000. I mean, no 5,000.
Right. No, yeah, a championship fighter. But I'm talking about, what about everybody who's not fighting for a championship?
You get that $1,500 minimum.
Guess what? You're gonna be sparring and stuff at the gym you've been training out of to make it that far.
Yeah, you're gonna be sparring next to the dude who's training the 5 12-year-olds, and you're gonna spar against the girls who's working out, getting shaped. They're over there in the corner, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be sitting there exposing at the end of the day, it's a choice, right? People can do what they want to do. I'm just using that as an example just to say that options benefit everybody. Less options doesn't benefit. It just is what it is. I think people are just making a big stank out of this thing, and we just don't know what it is yet. People are just trying to turn this thing into like an end-all be-all bad thing, and we don't know that, bro. We just don't. And it's disingenuous for this guy, you know what I'm saying, to sit up there and act like he cares when people know, bro, that these promoters are greasy, grimy people, bro. They're not to be trusted. They've never been to jail. So why should we act like? How does this guy become the spokesman for? Stop it, man. This guy is not here.
Did you hear about this right here? Now to get on another topic, right? One of your favorite topics. Did you hear that Bill Haney and them dislike for Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. come from Devin was preparing for a fight or whatever, and they gave them an invitation to come help Devin prepare for the fight.
Yeah, I know about this.
His number one sparring partner. You heard about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
they know they're gonna fight each other at some point.
Senior said he wanted Junior to help him, but Junior said, "I'm not going to help him because I'm gonna be fighting him one day."
Right.
And now they about to fight. So he called it. Senior said he was wrong about that because he wanted him to go to the camp and help him.
Yeah, but I mean, he saw the future. He knew that Devin was coming to 147 at some point because he probably just saw it. You know what I mean? I don't know why Senior didn't see that, but yeah, at some point, if I'm going to be a champion at 147, this guy's coming to compete at 147. It's a.
But that was early. Wasn't that early? That was early in Brian Norman Jr. career, though.
Yeah, I think that might have been right, like 140 Devin.
140.
You know what I'm saying? That might have been like 140 Devin but he just saw the future. He probably saw it. He probably saw how big he is. And a lot of people seen it. A lot of people were like, Devin need to go up to 147. Some people are saying that he need to go to 154. They're like, this dude is big as, he's always been getting that jacket.
Well, maybe I was saying she's 160.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? I think Junior just kept it 100 and was just like, bro, why am I gonna spar this dude when I'm probably gonna be fighting this dude? Like, he sparred Tank, but he's like, yeah, Tank ain't never coming to my way, so we can spar. You know what I'm saying, Brian?
if you listen to Floyd Mayweather, a lot of fighters probably would have been getting whooped. He said Devin should have went to 160. I mean, he said Earl Spence should go to 168.
Yeah, he said he would have started Errol at 160. You know what I mean? He's like, I would have started him. He said I wouldn't even have had him down at 147. He would have started off at 160, messing with me.
Yeah, he said he shouldn't even when Earl was talking about coming back to fight Bud at 154. He said, why is he even thinking about 154? He should be going to 168.
Yeah. I think this dude, Oscar, if you guys get a chance to watch this interview, bro, I think he's disingenuous, bro. If you just be honest with yourself, I don't know how people can look. I mean, it is what it is, bro.
With this
amendment. Come on, man, Oscar Clay. I don't like that, man.
I think Oscar just afraid. I think he's afraid that it's going to be successful, and it's probably going to take money out of his
playing
pocket.
the game. I think he doesn't care one way or another. I think he's rich. I think he gets a lot of money, and I think he's playing the game of the promoters. He's discrediting the new guy. He's attacking the new guy. I don't think there's no other reason behind it. I don't think he cares about the Ali Act like that. I don't think he cares about these fighters like that. I think in reality, if that part of the verbiage of the Ali Act was completely changed, it would benefit him. It would make him get even more money. You know what I'm saying? That's probably why TGB jumped on it. TGB was like, yeah, let's get it done, right? Because at the end of the day, it don't hurt me. It just makes it easy for me to do business and get money and not have to be transparent. See, I'm going through it right now. I can't get fighters to fight at all right now because they want to see the books and they keep telling me they want more money. That's what they're going through over there right now at the BBC and TGB, right? They open up the books and drop Tank going, nah, bro, I want more of that. I want more. You know what I mean?
Try and eliminate that, which is not fair.
What do you mean you're trying to eliminate that?
It reminds me of
what?
I can instantly think about this fighter from UFC, Askren, who was just
this is one of the most disingenuous
I know for real
talking points that I've ever heard. He's about to make a talking point right now that is so disingenuous. Listen to what this man said. It's so ridiculous.
But the double lung
who had the
transplant,
double
yes.
lung transplant and couldn't even get a surgery. I mean, he was a staple of the UFC for a while and can't even get monies to cover his hospital bills.
Eventually he got it.
Eventually he got it, but he got it through private, friends or
Dana,
whatever you might call
right.
them. Jake Paul donated some money. I think Dana White, out of his own pocket, donated some money. I mean, to me, it's sad.
Shut up. Okay. let's be clear, right? right. Let's be clear, right? Is somebody taking care of Buster Douglas? Is the WBA taking care of Buster Douglas? Is boxing taking care of James Toney?
I about to say James Toney.
Right? All these fighters that we see walking around, is there a fund or something that's taking care of these dudes that I missed out on? Somebody can enlighten me?
No.
Right? So all of a sudden, James Askren, who gets sick after he's retired from the UFC, he didn't get sick in the ring. He didn't get sick getting ready for a fight. He had an unfortunate situation. You feel me? That, by the way, he's wealthy, living a great life with his family. He's not the wealthy like a billionaire, but he's got a lot of money. He's living very well on a homestead, you know what I'm saying, with his wife, living a great life, has an unfortunate situation. We don't know what it is. It's affected his lungs. We don't know. There's an argument out there to say that whatever happened to his lungs had nothing to do with him being a UFC fighter, right?
Yeah, no. You know what happened? I think like 2 days before, like he was supposed to do something or be in an event or something, like he contracted like a staph infection, and I guess like that had gotten into his lungs or some shit like that. So, and that's when like he's a wrestler, so a lot of wrestlers they mostly get like a lot of staph infections. You're always grabbing on each other and stuff like that. So
locker room shit.
That's a staph infection he got, and I guess he didn't get it seen or something, and it just progressed to something bad. Look, he got a transplant, but yeah,
disingenuous, bro. For him to say that, it's just like I'll never forget when an OG one time told me, bro, if you're really that bad, they'll never have to make nothing up about you. They just have to tell you what you did. As soon as they start making stuff up, it's because they got nothing real to put their hands on. You feel what I'm saying? If you're a tall person and somebody's calling you a short, dumb bastard, it's like, don't even listen to that dude, right? Like, because whatever is bad, it should be what came out your mouth. But not if a person got to look at this tall person and be like, what did he mean by he's a short, dumb bastard? And this dude has a degree, and what is he talking about, right? No, you're making stuff up. It's not consistent.
That it has to be that way. And like I said, I instantly think about how if some person is shisty, if some person is out to do wrong, you don't try to eliminate or the person try to doing right in the sport. You don't try to eliminate a bill that is protecting the fighter, the product. The fighter's the product. I just think that without that rule there, without that clause there, or wiping out the Muhammad Ali Act.
Wiping out the Muhammad Ali Act? Oh my God, bro.
I don't think he even understands what's going on.
He just seems, if people want to pay attention, to just be honest, bro. Just be honest. This dude is talking a bunch of nonsense. It's just not true, bro.
Hey Clay, did you watch
Ali Act? What is he talking about?
Hey Clay, did you watch the Ariel show today?
Yeah, with Jerron?
Yeah, there was Boots and then the other guy after, I believe, or like later on. It was the.
No, I didn't watch the whole show because I know it's like a 3-hour show.
The last guest, I forgot that dude, Tom or some dude that's working on the Ali Act or some shit to help it change or some shit. So he was even like asked certain questions, and he even came out to me like kind of like weird because he couldn't even answer the questions Ariel was telling him and shit. Certain things, he's always bringing up like, the networks are dying, ain't no one but at the same time, like cable is dying. Like I never had cable in like over 10 years maybe or so, right? But even with him, when Ariel was trying to give him a question, like how Oscar, he's giving Oscar, and they really can't even answer that shit.
Yeah, so it's like, why push the narrative? It's not coming from a genuine space. And this verbiage that Oscar's using is just disingenuous, bro. It's disingenuous, bro. What he's saying. Listen,
the fighter is vulnerable.
And then the other thing is, you don't have to adhere to any sort of independent ranking.
Oh, sure. I mean, aside from, I'm focusing on just the fighter alone. And yes, you have the fact that they're gonna make up their own rules. Who knows if they're gonna change the ring? I've heard they're gonna change the size of the ring. And, next thing you know, we're going to see bears and lions and tigers and chained to the canvas. I mean,
bet money he heard that from somebody, and he's been using it over and over again, bro. He's been using that bears and tigers, that gladiator shit in the ring. Let me tell you something. If there's bears and tigers and shit in the ring, bro, if the people like it, it's going to pop, bro. It's going to pop. So you can't do nothing about it. Guess what Oscar's going to do, though? He gonna put bears and tigers in his ring, bro, because he care about his body. He trying to make money. He trying to act like he gonna be just right there doing whatever. The funny thing about it is the Ali Act is going to give Dana White freedom, right, to do what he's gonna do. But it's also going to give these dudes freedom to do some things. Let's see what they do with their newfound freedom. Let's find out what these guys do.
Clay, let's talk about some of these matchups, man.
You don't want to talk about Oscar no more?
Let's talk about some of these matches, man. We've been talking about Dana and Oscar for a minute.
All right, go ahead. Let's go. Let's go into some matches. I'll pull it down, bro. Go ahead.
All right, so what we think about that Stephen Fulton and O'Shaquie Foster?
Great fight. I'm concerned with a couple of things, right? I'm concerned with Stephen Fulton as far as the Bozy Ennis camp. I know Bozy Ennis' style works great for Boots. That's Boots all day. That's who he's supposed to be. I wouldn't have asked Boots to be nowhere else but with his father. I think he just grew up in that system and he does well in it. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if this new version of Stephen Fulton operates well inside of the ring with O'Shaquie Foster. I think he needs to move around. He needs to box. He needs to stay on those things that he did that made him the big deal he was at 122. And I think this new version of him at 130 with O'Shaquie Foster with a bigger puncher, I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I don't think it needs to be 50-50 though. I think Stephen Fulton could outclass O'Shaquie Foster if he wanted to. I don't know if he will though.
But I don't think Ashafi Foster is a big puncher though.
I think he can be. I think he's a
I
decent
don't
puncher.
feel like he's a big puncher.
For
I feel like
I think he's a good boxer too.
Carlos
yeah, he's a
Castro
good
put
boxer.
Stephen Fulton on his pockets. You don't think
He's a,
Ojak can do it?
They're both good boxers. I'm leaning to Fulton, but
yeah, I
I
feel like
wouldn't.
he's a good boxer. I don't feel like he's no puncher.
So,
No,
so you think
I don't
Stephen
think
Fulton?
both of them are really that punchers like that, but
I like
they're both
Foster in
great.
that one, bro.
They're both great at moving. You know, they got good skills. So this is gonna go 12 rounds. This is gonna see who has the better skills from these two guys. And this is where it's hard because it does seem like a 50-50 fight to me as well. I mean, we barely seen Fulton like in what 1 or 2 fights at 126. Now he's moving to 130. Even Shockey, to me, he should move up to 135 because he looks a little drained at 130, you know.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great fight. I think 100% at a minimum is going to be. I think it could be fight of the year candidate. I think these guys might fight the living shit out of each other until somebody gets stopped. Like they might not. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what the kind of energy they're going to bring to the ring. But yeah, I have questions. About shout out to round one who's talking about Shockey maybe hanging at 130 a little bit too long. That's possible. We know that he hired a nutritionist for the Conceição fight, the first Conceição fight, and that he was thinking about leaving. No, the second Conceição fight, one of those fights, he hired a nutritionist because he had a bad weight cut before the Conceição fight, and he was kind of nervous about it and was considering going up to 135. I kind of believe that he got kind of screwed. I think the politics screwed him over in that Conceição fight, the first one. But
Right.
he seems to be getting that nutritionist now, and he seems to be more comfortable at 130 right now. He seems to not have a problem with the weight cut anymore, according to him. So, you know, it could show up bad in that fight. It could show up bad for him, you know what I mean, on the night of the fight. So yeah, make sure his weight cut is right. And also Stephen Fulton, this new version of Stephen Fulton. I don't know how that's this new version. I don't know how I feel about this new version of Stephen Fulton. Even against Brandon Figueroa, I was like, you know what I mean? Like I thought he did well, but I feel like Brandon Figueroa also fought wrong.
Oh yeah, that was a good fight. Yeah, you're right, and that's what I'm saying. He's moving up. He only had a couple fights, maybe at 126, moving up. It's a
and that fight he had with Carlos Castro, a lot of people thought he lost that fight. The crowd was booing when he won that fight that night. Carlos Castro put him on his pockets, remember, and had him and had him doing a stanky leg a couple of times in the fight. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not completely sold on Stephen Fulton yet. I'm just not completely there like everybody else is. I know he's a great fighter, but I also recognize that he's transitioning, man. He's transitioning, bro, and I don't know how that transition has I don't know who he is all the way yet.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying too. Let's see, because even Foster, like we're talking about him thinking of moving up and stuff. He does look like a skeleton in the closet at 130 right now at weigh-in.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, hopefully
what's up, Blue?
Doesn't take much, like, because you know sometimes you train weighing too much, you could, you know, you're bound to lose to someone who can catch you or something. Something could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if he does lose to Fulton though. But at the same time, these guys are two skilled boxers, and I'm gonna have to see which one is the better skilled one in that ring that night.
What y'all think about them mandating the Nick Ball and Brandon Figueroa fight? What y'all think about that?
I think that's a good
I
fight.
didn't even know.
I don't understand why Brandon Figueroa is I don't understand why Brandon Figueroa is getting another title shot.
Clay,
like what are we talking about? Like, I don't know, how did that happen?
I mean, he fought 2 fights since he lost the Fulton. I know he fought 1. I think he fought 2 fights, didn't he? Since he lost the Fulton, Steve Fulton.
No.
He won. I know he fought 1. Because he fought on the same card when Gray fought. He fought with Barrios and Pacquiao card. He fought on that card. And they said he lost. Man, the whole crowd went off. They felt like he lost that fight.
Oh yeah, he did. He fought yeah, you're right. I'm trying to remember who he fought. He did fight somebody, and they did think he lost. It was
I was there. They was booing him.
Hold on a second, man. Yeah, I didn't. Hold on, man.
Yeah, they was booing him.
Hold on, let me see. Let me pull up box right here. Who did he fight against? I forgot he did fight, and they did boo him. Who was it again? Damn, I'm gonna be so pissed when I see it.
I was standing by Sabril Matias.
Joet Gonzalez. That's who it was. It was Joet Gonzalez. Yep.
Sabril Matias, like, man, he lost. He lost, man. Sabril Matias, he lost, man. That's when Sabril Matias got into it with T.O. that night.
Who's he scheduled to fight? He don't have an opponent yet, right? Matias.
Yeah, he's supposed to fight somebody. I forgot who he's supposed to fight. But yeah, he's supposed to fight somebody. Yeah, so what y'all think about Lamont Roach Jr. and Isaac Pitbull Cruz?
I think it's gonna be a good fight, man.
You think it's gonna be easy, like Lamont says it's gonna be easy? Think it's gonna be just so he can hit him?
That's gonna be a good fight. I don't think it'll be easy, but he got the skills to do it. I believe so.
You know, we saw Pitbull coming in his last fight. You know, he was just coming into that weight, so he probably got, you know, he had a little more time to get some lean on now. You know, some more muscle, so he's gonna look different.
I mean, Pitbull fought 3 fights at 140, 4 fights at 140 already.
He didn't look. He looked kind of soft. He looked kind of soft around the torso.
Remember he fought Rolly?
Yeah, he beat Rolly.
Yeah, the last fight.
He fought Pharaoh, and then he fought the last fight. He fought 4 fights at 140 now.
Yeah, that last fight, he looked kind of soft around the torso.
But you know, he ain't supposed to fight him. That was the last minute replacement. I was there. That was the same night as the Barrios and Pacquiao fight. The dude, he's supposed to fought the rematch with Ferrero, but Ferrero passed out while we was at the weigh-in. He passed out trying to make the weight.
What was that 140?
Yep, 140.
I thought that was his first fight at 140.
Yeah, that 140. Yeah, that's trippy. Yeah, that happened.
Pitbull fought 4 fights at 140.
And this is gonna be what Lamont Roach's first fight after fighting his first time at 135. See, man, this is another guy moving up. Like we were just talking about.
This is where everybody's
but Pitbull ain't a real 140 pounder. Like he's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Pitbull like a 130 pounder for he little as on the way.
He's short, yeah. He's
152. But you know what I seen in Vegas that I did not know they was that daggone short? Man, Camille Moten, man. Camille Moten like 5'2", 5'3". I ain't know he was there. He's like a little fat little bowling ball. He was a little. Nah, for real. Clay, that man real short, man. That man look, him and Gurry was standing by each other by the slot machines. He make Gurry look tall.
Damn.
And Gurry is 5'4.5". Man,
Camille
Moten, if you look it up, Camille Moten is little, man. I didn't know he was that short, man. I thought Camille Moten.
No, I knew he was little. I knew he was definitely little. I knew that he was.
Man, he be looking big on TV.
He looked like he's real muscular, and he do look like but he's I know he's little. I didn't know he was no 5'2" though. I thought he was like 5'5".
Man, nah, he's small. He's shorter than Gurry. I'm gonna look him up. What?
Is he shorter than Tank?
Is he shorter than Pitbull?
Like 5'5",
Pitbull's short.
Tank is like about a half inch
like
taller than
5'5" around there. Yeah, Tank is short as well, man.
I know that's what I'm saying. So if he's shorter than Tank, that's what it's gonna be crazy.
Man, he's shorter than Tank. I'm 1,000% positive he's shorter than Tank.
Damn.
They got him listed as 5'4". They got him listed as 5'4".
Yeah. No, he a big, but he, you know what I mean? Like, I'm about to say something, I have to say pause, but he a dense dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He a dense dude, bro. He's definitely a dense dude.
This how you know
Compact.
some of the
Compact.
stuff. So two websites say 5'4". This Quick Facts Quick Facts say 5'8".
Damn, diabolical 5'8". Ugh.
Bad. Quick Facts say 5'8", but Wikipedia say 5'2". Wikipedia say 5'2". Box Rec
That's
say
probably real shit.
5'4".
But it might be different times too. Like he might have been, they might have
The
taken his
age.
height when he was way younger or something.
Wikipedia say 19 years old, 5'2".
That's probably right shit.
Let me see. Boxing Rec last update on him was
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. As of May 2025, he was 5'4". May 2025, they got him as 5'4". But Quick Facts say 5'8". Ain't no way in hell you know that 5'8". That man little is on what? Like a little bowling ball. So he's gonna fight. Okay, what you got? Who y'all got? Camille Moulton and Dirk Davis.
Derek Davis. Derek
Scooter Davis.
Oh, Scooter.
Oh, Scooter. I like Moulton, man.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. That's a good fight, man. I don't know, man. I would have to go with Scooter because he looks like he has a little more experience on him. I think Carmel. I think he has the better opponents. I think Scooter's been fighting better like fighters. But I think that's a great fight.
8-0. They both 8-0. Scooter 8-0 with 8 knockouts. Carmel 8-0 with
like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, with 6 knockouts. So he 8-0 with 6 knockouts. Scooter. Carmel fought 3 undefeated fighters. He fought a guy who was 4-0, 3-0, and 7-0 with 7-0-2. Right? Let's look at Scooter. So Carmel fought 3 undefeated fighters.
I think Scooter. I think it's a good fight. I would lean towards Scooter though. Yeah, I would definitely lean towards Scooter to win it.
And see, Scooter about 5'6", maybe about 5. They have him listed as 5'9.5". Scooter about 5'7" tops. Scooter only fought 1 undefeated fighter. He fought a guy who was 6-1, 5-2, and a guy that his debut. Then he fought a guy who was 6-11.
I like Carmel, man.
But
he done been in that floor. He been into that floor at tutorage.
I think it's a competitive fight, but I do lean towards Scooter. But I think it'd be a competitive fight.
I think out of both of them, Scooter fought opponent. I think if you had to compare who fought the best opponent, Scooter fought Naeem Parker. Naeem Parker, he had from out Philly. It's popping up. He's supposed to be good. Scooter KO'd him.
I don't know, boy. You can't underestimate that Floyd training, man. Floyd put them boys in the meat grinder.
Yeah, this is what it is. Yo, guys, I'm about to land this plane though, man. I gotta move around, man. I gotta get in front of, man. Salute to everybody who's in the panel. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button. Take a moment to go ahead and do that as well. And subscribe, hit your bell icons, all that good stuff. But until the next one, man, it's your boy Clay. It's that ATP Combat Media Show, man, at this point.
I would make it this far. They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the D.